Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the evil that men do. Father God, I pray and ask that you help me to have mercy on others the same way I would want you to have mercy on me. Father God, I also ask that you help me to be quick to forgive and slow to get angry. Amen, amen, amen. These young dudes out here don't respect shit until you put the barrel in their ear and let the text spit. I just might catch a case on my next hit, remove their whole face on some special effect shit. So show respect, Drake, or I'ma have a flashback. Digging through the dresser like fuck it, where my mask at? The mash back with the banger and damage shit and say fuck everything I learned in anger management. Hop back on some east side managed shit and push a nigga's top back when I let the cannon spit. Start planning shit, premeditation. I'm in love with the streets again, rededication. Casket or cremation when I shoot you down. I was built for the smoke like a hookah lounge. I keep big shit that sound like a bazooka sound, and I shoot quicker than ain't gotta be a hoop around. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Gun on me, it ain't never for show, homie. I'm far from a bully, but I'm never a hoe. Get out of line, my Beretta will blow. Real talk, we can take the beef wherever we go. I bring it to your front door like I'm Uber Eats. I guarantee you listen up when this Ruger speaks. Plus I maneuver through these streets like a ghost, and I'm handy with the heat. I cook a nigga like a roast. On me, homie, this is not a boast. I will still come through, boy, and stop a nigga's post. Play him close, man, Eric will ease it. Quickly off the waistband, man, and Eric will squeeze it. Leave you niggas laid out dead or paraplegic. Niggas playing in these streets while I'm very strategic. I come to your house dressed like the gas man. Shoot you 9 times, leave you stretched by the trash can. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. I don't put shit on Facebook, I just holler in person. Put the pistol in your mouth while you holler in person. All that shit you kept rehearsing and put on your live, got you clapped with the big 4-5. You bitch nigga, if you tell me to pull up, I'ma do that. That nigga who was whooping, first nigga that I shoot at. Ski mask on my face, bystanders be like, who that? I ain't with the talking, bitch boy, I thought you knew that. Leave his brains where my shoe at and bounce like I'm on a trampoline. Leave you laid out, nigga, like you camping on the scene. If you want something sweet, grab a peach or tangerine. Niggas won't smoke, well fuck it, I'ma let them handle steam. AR with the beam, you see the red dot? We tug on this trigger, nigga, it'll make your head pop. Blood pouring down to your shoes, call it Red Sox. Your brains hanging all over your shoulders like some dreadlocks. Expect the gang of dead ops. They ever cross the line? The Lord said in the Bible, oh, revenge is mine. So I'm just trying to find a righteous path between the two. Before I lose control and do the shit I used to do. This being humble shit is new. I'm trying to turn the other cheek, but I ain't never been a bitch, so watch your mouth when you speak. Your mercy's what I seek, so I pray on bended knees. Don't let me get the K with the extended clip and squeeze. Lord, please. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps. Dear God, please don't let me relapse and return to the G-Ride with 3 straps. A ski mask with the case, squeezing keys apps, spraying everything from a nigga's brain to his kneecaps.
All right, y'all. We back in the house again. That was my brother, 16 to Life. You know him, Brother Eric. Good brother, man. Good brother. Go over to his page, 16 to Life, and go hear some really funny stories about prison, funny stories about his life on the street, being a street narcotics salesman. And man, he's just a funny dude, man. Good dude too. Good-hearted dude, man. But don't get it twisted, man. Don't get it twisted. He will turn your cap backwards if you get out of line with him. But he's a good-hearted dude, man. Go on over there. He also has a website, 16tolife.com. You can go on there and get your Yard Down t-shirt. And you can get your Yard Down pullover like me. and you got it. It'll be all set up and ready to go. Shout out to Brother Eric, man, and I do have permission to use that music. I do have that permission. Why do you play that song? It's got all that curse and everything. Yeah, I'm not really happy about that, but what I do like about it is the theme, because when I was asking Eric about how to, I said, Eric, can you give me a version that's, a little cleaner? He said, okay, I will. We still working on that, but yeah, but he was explaining to me the concept of relapse, and the thing, his concept was that yes, everybody could relapse. Anybody could go back to doing the bad stuff they're doing. So you gotta always, be working to make sure that you don't relapse. You have to work for your own, non-recidivism. You know what I'm saying? Going back to stuff that was wrong, that we were doing, that we know is wrong, right? All right. That's Brother Eric. Shout out to Brother Eric. I think I got another dinosaur here. Wrinkly, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let me just say this. We are not going to ask that man to alter his masterpiece because we got some fake ass Christians out here complaining. Okay? That man wrote a hit. It's a hit the way it is.
I believe
he
so.
should not. If it hurts your ears, you're not the audience. That's all. You just not the audience. Everything's not for everybody, right? Right? Is that a fact? Everything's not for everybody.
That is a fact, Rico.
And so if it hurts your ears, it's not for you.
I've heard it said, why are you working with that guy, Rico?
Yep. If it hurts your ears, it's not for you. That's all.
I've heard it said once or twice.
Hey, what did God Daddy say? Chew the meat, spit out the bone. There it is. If it's good enough for the God Daddy, then it's good enough for me. Right. They didn't mind the God Daddy cursing.
Yeah, well, the
God Daddy curse. The God Daddy dropped quite a few
F-bombs. He had a poetic license, man. He had a poetic license, man.
Right. See what I'm saying? So does brother what's that artist? Eric.
Brother Eric, yeah, man.
Brother Eric. He got a poetic license too.
Yeah, man.
And that's a hit.
Man.
So we're not gonna ask that young man to do we ain't asking him to do a damn thing.
Rico, this dude is a solid cat. I'm talking about he is a solid dude, man. Solid dude, man.
So and if you play the clean version here, I'm gonna put a bug in it. We're not asking that man to alter his master.
You know what I noticed, man? I noticed that only people with a certain type of intellect listen to us. At first I thought, oh man, everybody's listening to us and the children and everything. But when I started realizing, man, is that only a certain type of people with a certain type of intellect to listen to us. So I kind of relaxed a little more on the, everybody speaking their mind, man. Yeah. How you doing today, Brother Rick?
Doing good. I was sweating like a damn runaway slave out there in that yard, cutting the rest of that grass. I hate it. Okay, boy, I hate having a goddamn corner lot.
Yeah, man. But you got the biggest lot, but you got to do a lot of
work to do.
You got any of those slopes, man? My father-in-law got a slope too.
Right. That's the one thing I'm glad I don't have house I had before. I used to be cutting the hill, walking sideways, looking like you're in the Matrix or some shit, looking like Michael Jackson.
Right, yeah, man. I used to have to do it for him sometimes. I was like, man, what is this?
But it went from a point at one time I used to be able to do the whole thing in one day. Now I have to do it in 2 days. I do the back one day, I do the front the next day, because just, and it's not really big. It's just so hot. And I'm getting older. And that's just like, and I'm too cheap to pay somebody. So you put all three together, I'm like a runaway slave, just a sweat.
All right. That's all right, man. See, when Mama see you out there working, man, Mama, she feel good, man. She say,
she be taking videos, putting it up on Facebook. She got me out for hire.
Go to work.
Yeah, she got me out for hire, right? I say, ain't this a piece of work? Yeah. Other than that, I'm doing great, sir. Great.
Good. Glad to hear it, man. Glad
to get this important topic started, because I do think we need to talk about it. Very good. I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Okay. So, what got me started on this, man, as you know, we were talking earlier. You started talking about how people have so many problems with what's being taught in the public school system, and instead of doing something about it, most people have their children in the public school system because American life is built around the public school system. So
Yes.
our lives are built around that. When I say that, I mean that you work and you got someplace to put your children for free, right? You don't have to pay for child care because the public school system is basically a child care system for your students, for your children. But at the same time, they're supposed to be teaching them things that they can use out here in the real world once they graduate school, right? Okay, that's a trade-off that's supposed to be happening. Now, so I got this idea from Rico.
And not totally for free because we do pay for it with our tax dollars.
But I mean, out of your pocket, right? You gonna pay with your tax dollars.
Yes.
We gonna pay for it. Just like people that say, I'm not gonna pay child support. Well, if you're not paying it directly, we paying it indirectly, right? Yeah. Somebody paying for it, right? Right. So anyway, right, because WIC and all that stuff, somebody got to pay for that, right? All right. So anyway, the thing is, the issue was really because I thought that was a good question you would propose. You like, why are you guys so mad about the public school curriculum? Yet we don't do anything about it. We kick up all this dust about, they teaching this in the school, they teaching that in the school, they teaching CRT, they teaching gender assignment, and all this stuff, right? They teaching a rainbow community agenda. Okay, but what are you doing? What are we doing about it? What if we don't want those things taught, or if you do want those things taught, what are you doing about it? What are we doing about it? So we're going to go through how this stuff even comes about. What can you do about your local school system and how you can help to forge the curriculum of the students in your local school system, right? Okay, but the first thing that we want to ask this first question, Rico, what is the purpose of public school? In your opinion?
In my opinion, I gather that the basic function of, America was one of the first countries that decided that prior to the formation of public education in America, most countries, only the wealthy people were educated. Right. All the mass, even in England, so it wasn't Canada, regular smuggler folks had no formal education. So somewhere along the line, these guys got together and said, look, we need to have an educated workforce with basic forms of education, whether it's basic arithmetic, basic reading. Because even though the funny thing about it was, even back then, as far as when blacks were not allowed to read, a lot of poor white people couldn't read either. Right. It just wasn't illegal for them to be able to know how to read. Right. But most of them were equally as uneducated and could not read. So you could go to almost pretty much in any town up through the 1800s, and only a small percentage of the population was educated with basic math and basic reading. Most people were just freaking illiterate. So the form of it is, as we started to go into the industrialized age, basically rich people decided, well, goddamn, our workforce is just too stupid.
Correct.
We were. So they alone did some funding and got with, I'm not sure if it was the Quakers or whatever, and they started that they wanted to create this public education system all throughout. Right. I think it started in Mass. So it definitely started on the East Coast and it spread across, where they started coming up with this generalized curriculum for basic learning. And it probably only originally went up several years, maybe like the first 5 or 6 grades. I don't know the full history of it in educating. And over the years, they just kept refining it, kept adding additional grades up until they got to today's current day form. And basic public education sets minimum standards, not maximum, minimum standards for what's considered a basic American education. So even from K through 12, every grade, every school is required to do certain minimum standards. They can go above and beyond. They can do additional things. But as a minimum, we decided as a country, and we partially funded through our tax dollars through the Department of Education. But your federal tax dollar does not pay for all your education. Public education is still run by the states. There's no universal. It's run by each individual state. with funding from the federal government, along with funding from state government. So that's the basic premise of it. And it's basically just to give America an educated workforce. And it had public education is a reason why we're one of the superpowers as well, because we were the first country that had universal public education for its entire population. Other countries caught on later, and said, hey, we need to come up with a public education for our student. And they ended up being smarter than ours. But our concept, I think America was the first country to say, we're going to do public education free of charge. It wasn't great for everybody.
All right. Hold on, Rico. Let me do some shout outs. Shout out to OG Patrice. Says greetings and salutations, family. Shout out to OG Patrice. If she get a minute, Patrice is always ripping and running. So if she get a minute, she'll jump in. Shout out to this is the one that put the nail, started building this thing with us from the beginning. Risa Neal. Shout out to Risa Neal. She was there. She was there when the shovel hit the dirt. She was there. Shout out to Risa Neal. Same thing with Sister Enya. Shout out to Sister Enya. Jill's Chocolate Boutique. Glad to have you in the building, sis. Glad to have you in here. And Risa, yes, hello, family, to you too. Okay. Now that we did some shout outs, Rico. Okay, so let me tell you my opinion.
Yeah, give me your interpretation and opinion.
My interpretation of what the purpose of public school is for. Now, what you said, the premise is correct. Shout out to Sister Annie. Sister Annie, glad to have you in the building, sis. And of course, Brother Brown Bryant, when he gets a chance, he's
shout out to both of the fam. Shout out.
Yeah, whenever we get whenever they get a chance, they'll pop in. But anyway, like you said, the premise of what you said, man, because back in the day, if they wanted something, a specialized thing to be done, like a specialized carpentry or specialized, they would have to probably send for a foreign person who had that skill set to come over here and do that work, right? And so we had a lot of people here that can do. We got a lot of people. If we just train the people, at a certain level, like we was talking about the minimum standards, then everybody will be able to learn. Because what really they're teaching you how to learn. They're teaching you a way to learn things, right? In the public school system. That's one of the things they're teaching you. We're gonna watch a little video called The Hidden Curriculum. But it's gonna teach you a little bit about that situation.
Because it's important to note, while we started the first public education, we were far from one of the first universities. In Africa, in Asia, they had universities. But again, education was only deemed for a select group of people. You had kings and queens and
not queens. Not queens.
I mean, well, you had to come from high stock to get educated.
What I'm alluding to, Rico, is that
it was male oriented. But,
right.
Yeah. But even then, I'm just saying, in some countries they did allow women, but you still had to come from good stock. Correct. Commoners, as we're all called, as we're known, we're the commoners. You couldn't go to those universities.
Correct.
You just couldn't. So we were far from the first to have a university. That was overseas. But we were the first to sit there and then formulate it down to the commoners countrywide. Even though some commoners in all these different countries did learn, that was the exception and not the norm. But go ahead, continue.
Okay. Shout out to Brother New Growth. Glad to have you in the building, brother. All right. So we started creating a minimum standard of being able how to learn things, right? So that now you can be taught specialized knowledge in America. You don't have to fly to because what they used to do, but way back in the day was, like Rico said, they didn't have that many universities. And really, the first university I know about is the University of Cairo, the university out there in Africa. And so the Greeks would go over there, the Roman would.
And one in Timbuktu also. I think that was a university. I don't know the name. I think that's even older than Cairo.
Oh, okay, maybe so.
That's also in Africa.
Exactly, but the point is they would go to you would have to go out of your own country to get this information, and then go back to your country and then teach it to select people, like Lico said, to select people of your own land. Well, what happened here in America is we have an industrial revolution. So actually all over the world, because once one country catches on with an industry, the whole world really is going to follow right behind that. So anyway, we had an industrial revolution here in America, and to having that industrial revolution, we had to have people that could actually work on these machines and on these sophisticated systems. We had to have people who could learn how to do that stuff here. So you have to have a basic understanding of basic mathematics, basic English, because you have to be able to read the instructions, and you have to understand, you got to have a way to learn. So we had to have a public education. Now, the English government thought that public education was a threat. They didn't want the people to know how to read. They didn't want the people to learn how to know how to write. They didn't want the people to learn how to read and write and be able to start businesses. They didn't want that, because they wanted them always to be subjugated to the king, right? But as other countries, their populations start getting more advanced, you can't keep your population down. You can't say, well, we're gonna keep our population the lid on their learning ability while other populations are advancing in front of you. They're gonna be more technologically advanced, more equipping, everything. You're gonna be just behind and everything. So everybody else had to open up, like Rika said, they had to open up public schooling just to be at the same level, right? Okay, now here's the deeper dive into the purpose of public education. Every society has to have a way to indoctrinate the country, to indoctrinate the people of the country, right? There's certain values, certain ideas, and certain behaviors. You have to be able to indoctrinate the people into doing that. And the best way to indoctrinate someone is at the youngest age, where they can understand, right? You indoctrinate your children, right? You don't wait till they're 6 years old to try to teach them to walk. You teach them to walk when they, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, a year, whatever, right? You teach them to walk as soon as possible, right? You indoctrinate them, because they're going to have to walk. They're going to have to move their legs if they can. They're going to have to, to get around and have the best chance of doing everything, the best chance to compete with the next person. They don't have to use all their faculties. So you're trying to get them to go ahead.
No, I just want to say something, because I know that with the word indoctrination is loaded. You know what I'm saying? I want us to be mindful that all indoctrination isn't bad. Because
what I'm saying is,
no. I'm just that the word, when people hear it, I don't want them to think of people hear indoctrinate, they brainwashing. I'm like, yes, but some brainwashing as a country. Now, I'm saying, I know that's how some listeners will receive it. Some brainwashing as a country. So in other words, when people are teaching, when countries are trying to make their citizen patriotic, that's a form of indoctrination. You know what I'm saying? So we would, and I don't think most people would say patriotism is a bad thing, but that's a form of indoctrination.
There's all kinds of forms of indoctrination.
Right. That's what I just wanted to say. I just wanted the listeners to know that. Don't think all indoctrination is them brainwashing you to do something stupid. Some indoctrination is for the good of the country. Because when you make you patriotic, you join the military. You fight for the country. Things like that. That's all. I just wanted to insert that part. Because people hear indoctrination and they automatically, I think they'll lump it as all bad. And I don't think it all is. Go ahead.
These people can think, man. They know that.
I know. You know, I know our listeners
man.
I know our listeners can. Our listeners are geniuses. But I don't know if somebody will come through that ain't a regular
listener. Might catch
listener.
on the replay, right? Okay, I got you.
That's all.
Okay.
But our listeners.
All right, so I'm looking at the definition. Let me go to the definition of indoctrination. It says the process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. That means you don't criticize the beliefs that are being taught to you. You just accept them. Well, we got people out here right now on YouTube. They teaching stuff and they don't want nobody to criticize it and say nothing about it, right? And even question it, right? So that's what I'm talking about when I say indoctrination. Now, whether it's good or bad, this is what's going on.
Maybe it is all bad.
But
So some of the
they
stuff
teach.
I'm thinking, I wouldn't think they wouldn't want you to be non-critical, but I know they teach you at an early age. So yeah, maybe it is.
Yeah, well, they do, because you're not going to
That's
push back as
incorrect, and
hard.
indoctrination is a bad thing. Keep thinking that, y'all. Go ahead. But no critical, just like, yeah, that's bad. Go ahead, bro. Good correction. I appreciate it. I stand corrected.
Y'all see what I got to work with?
Go ahead, old Negrosaurus.
All right, so but it's good. I mean, I love the pushback. The way we check each other, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so anyway, they have to, you have to have a way to indoctrinate the people, man. You got to tell the people, hey, you know, when so when other things and bigger things, like you get the person to accept, you know, the square, then you get them to accept the rectangle, then you get them to accept the rhombus, then you get them to accept on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So you can build it out, and you can say, hey, look, this is, you know, so when you're in this environment and a person is talking to you this way and they call themselves a teacher, you just accept what they say. You don't check their background. You don't check whether they have success at what they're teaching to you, or if they actually believe it. You just don't question it. You just take what they say, right? And so the indoctrination process starts when they're young, because who's going to push back when they're young, right? You're a little kid and somebody tells you 5 + 5 is 10. You're not going to push back on that. You're not going to say why. Why is that? And most people are not going to try to explain why that is. They're just going to show you how it works, and that's pretty much it, right? But the purpose of the purpose. Let's get back to the public school. The purpose of the public school situation is to indoctrinate the people so that they will have the beliefs and the belief system of the that embraces the central authority. Basically. Would you agree with that, Rico?
I would agree that that's one of the purposes.
Correct. I agree. That's what I should have said. Okay.
But it's not the sole purpose.
No, that's not the sole purpose.
Okay. All right,
but that is one of the purposes that is used for.
I agree.
Because like I said before, our world is built the American system, especially the what's the word I want to use, a middle class and under, is built around the school system, where you send your children to school, you go to work all day, and you come home, and everything's based around the school system, right?
Yep.
That's why when the coronavirus came around, threw everything off, because you couldn't send them to school. Now everything is thrown off, right? You can't send them to the they call them indoctrination camps, but this public school system, you now all these parents have to run around trying to figure out what are they going to do with their children, because they can't send them, because everything is built around that, right? But that's the point. So now, if the purpose of the public school system is to indoctrinate the people to embrace certain systems, one of which being the central government, the banking system, and certain other systems that are in place, so they don't question those things. When they see those things happening, they don't question them, right? Now, if that's one of the things that they're supposed to be doing, and now my question to you is, as a group, do you think we're accomplishing that with the public school system that we got in place today? Are those things being accomplished?
Is what being accomplished?
That most of the people, not saying everybody, but most of the people don't question the central government. They don't question the government.
I definitely think that's
they don't question, because most people don't vote. They don't question their government. They might complain, but they don't question. They complain in quiet corners, but they don't question the government. They don't question their law enforcement. Most people don't question them. Most people don't question their what do you call that, local governing bodies, right? Yep. Okay, so they just taught to accept what comes down the pipe. They don't question the financial and banking systems. They don't question those things, right? So do you think that as a country, I'm just talking about by and large, I know that some people do and some people don't, but by and large, do you think that the public school system is accomplishing that goal of dumbing us down from all those different systems, or questioning all of those different systems?
I believe it provides a platform. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I believe that. I believe that.
OG Tree says too many people drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, we're gonna get
the only
into
reason
it.
the only reason why I paused is because as much as I want to say is strictly because of the school system, I just know that the American public is disengaged from all the powers that you mentioned, the banking system, the government, federal, local level that runs their lives. And I do believe that, the average American citizen, white, black, blue, green, Asian, whatever, they're pretty fucking dumb. And I don't mean dumb just like but I mean dumb about what's running our lives. And I don't think that I think I'm the dumbest of the people that's interested in it. So
Right.
I'm asking the dumbest questions. But I think even at that level, there are so many Americans who are just like, I mean, even in my household. Okay, in the house
I got one out.
Literally, I'm fighting every time they see me reading a newspaper or reading a book or watching the news. Why just completely disinterested? I mean, just completely not you in your course. When I say dumb, I just get frustrated because it's just like, and I'm literally arguing with because we got a primary coming up. So in Maryland, I think ours is, and my wife don't know who running for this, that, whatever, and just as uninterested as the day is long. My kids, and I'm just like, it's just so frustrating,
I'm gonna get into so let's get into it, Rico. Let's get into it. Okay. What are some things that happen in the public school system? You go to one class, you're sitting in that class for a whole hour. They're teaching you this class is the most important thing that you should be focused on for the next hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bell rings. Shout out to Sister April. The bell rings. Now all of a sudden, everybody walks out of the classroom, right? Whether you need extra help or not, whether you need extra time on it or not. That's why that's one benefit of homeschooling is you can give a person extra time on a preferred activity, right? You can give them extra time. In a public school setting, that's typically not going to happen. Once that bell rings, off to the next class, or the teacher looks at the in elementary, she looks at the clock and says, "Uh-oh, now we got to move on to this subject. And so, especially when you get to higher grades like middle and high school, what happens is, Rico, the people see, like when that bell rings, you're taught to respond to the bell. You're not taught to your thinking is, man, I can't wait for that bell to ring. I don't prefer it. This is a non-preferred activity. I can't wait for that bell to ring so I can move on to a preferred activity. Or I know I got a preferred activity 3 other periods down the line, right?
Yeah, but I mean, we know that, there's almost no comparison to homeschooling to public schooling because, I mean, homeschooling, like I said, you're usually not talking about a resource issue. You know what I'm saying? School size, no comparison. What you can and don't choose to teach, no comparison. I mean, it's almost an apple to orange. And I will say this clearly: homeschooling is a far preferred. I would salute homeschooling 1,000,000 times over. However, you know how I just told you the average American is dumb? Their kids don't need to be homeschooled. Their kids need to be homeschooled, but just not in their home. You see what I'm saying? So. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. As much as I always consider myself well-read, I don't know if I would have been a good homeschooler because that's a big responsibility in making sure that your children learn what they need to know to go out here in this world and to teach it to them in the right way. So while I'm a huge proponent of homeschooling, I know everybody's not built to homeschool their kids. They're just not. Right. I mean, hell, half the parents in America need to be re-homeschooled.
Right.
They do. Right. I tell you, none of my sons I would not let my sons homeschool. Like, hell no.
And I wouldn't let my oldest boy.
I just, so The model is excellent. I just don't know if the people, you know what I'm saying. But I've never done it, so I can't speak too much on it. I just know I like the model of it. But then when I look at myself and my kids, I'm like, I don't know. So I mean, but I could be wrong. Yeah, thank you, Sister Enya. Like you said, you help each other. That's good. Because I don't know it that much in depth, but I do know most of the children that I've ever heard that were homeschooled, they came out more educated than the ones that was in the public school. They came out better.
I'm about to get to.
The only thing I've ever heard that might have been slightly a little bit detrimental to the socialization, because obviously they don't, have the benefit of that. But as far as everything else, all those kids come out better on all the testing, academics, more well-read.
But listen,
mathematics, everything.
Rico, I'm about to break it down.
The results is killer.
Yeah,
the results is like, can't touch it.
So we can't in a public school environment. That environment teaches you not to ask questions. Where in a homeschool environment, they're inviting questions, right? But if they tell you, hey, at this time you're going to this subject, and you say, but I really like this subject. Can I stay and do another hour of this subject? No. You must go to this next subject. And so after a while, they learn you can't question these people, right? Don't question the authority over you. Don't question them. No matter what they doing it and how you don't like it, you must follow the program. Whereas in homeschooling, they can teach you for 3 hours on mathematics if they want to, or spend a whole day on mathematics. The next day may spend on English. The next day spend on science, right? Whereas,
they teach you till you get it. Yeah.
Right. But my point is, Rico, you can ask as many questions as you want. Whereas in a public school, you only got a certain amount of time. You have to compete with other students for the time of the teacher. And then you have to, they force your child into non-preferred activities. They force them to do it, right? Because all under the guise of, well, they're gonna have to learn, they have to deal with that in the workplace anyway.
Well, right? And then public school, you have to teach to test. Homeschool, you don't have to.
No, but I'm saying what the student is actually learning. I know what all that, but I'm saying I'm talking about the intangibles that they're learning outside of the paper curriculum. This is stuff that they're learning, and it's being indoctrinated into them by. See, they can only question it for so long. Hey, I got these are subjects I got. I got 6 classes. These are the subjects I got. They tell me when I'm gonna eat lunch. They tell me when I'm gonna eat nutrition. They tell me when I'm gonna eat breakfast. They told me when I'm leaving. They told me when. At homeschool, you can alter all of that to favor your child.
Yep.
Okay. So so now they learn to not question what's happening at the school. They learn to not question it. If they tell them that, hey, if the person preferred mathematics and they only got 1 hour of mathematics, they just have to deal with that 1 hour. Now they have to chase it on their own after that if they really want it. Same thing with science, same thing with English, same thing with whatever, right? History, whatever subject they really, really like is preferred, they have to chase it afterwards. But so what's my point?
I don't know.
Except you're gonna have to in the public school system, they teaching you that you're gonna have to accept being unhappy with the way your life is, way things go. You have to accept that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, what's another thing? Another way of saying that is, if you happen to put yourself in a position where poverty comes into your ranks, you just accept it. You don't try to fight your way out of it. You don't try to question it. You don't try to do anything. You just find somebody to blame for it. Like the students will blame the principal, right? Everybody blames the principal at the school. We're gonna get into all of that, right? But they blame the principal. Hey, I don't like this school, right? I went to L.A. Banning out here in L.A. Banning High, right? We must, right? Out here in Wilmington, right? Okay, so what do? We blame the principal. Something we didn't like at the school, we just blame the principal. Oh, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like this, we don't like that, right? Because we want to have somebody to blame. But in actuality, if I want to do more math, I can do it. I just got to go home and do it, and I don't have as much support. But I can at least try and do it more at home. But my point is that they're indoctrinating our children into one, they don't question the authority, don't question how things are going, right? You question a couple of times and you try to change your class, change some things around so you can have it the way you want it. They won't do it. You just got to go. When that bell rings, you got to get up out your seat and go, period. Because that's what everybody else is doing. Then they teach you that's what everybody else is doing. So why are you questioning it? It's everybody else is doing it. This is what the whole school is doing. When that bell rings, the whole school moves. So you move with them.
Next point.
Okay, so you move with them. So how does that apply in real life? In real life, the whole world is poor. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Why are you trying to not do that? See, it's subtle things that we're being taught to accept through the public school system. Okay. All right. So homeschooling is, in my opinion, it has a better handle on teaching us some of those things. Right? Okay. But like I said, the bottom line, we have to indoctrinate you. Whenever you have a population, you have to indoctrinate your population. Otherwise, if you don't indoctrinate your population and you let them think what they want to think, you will have a revolution a lot of times. So to reduce the rate of revolution, you give them what you want them to think, and you call it free. I'm gonna give you a free education, but this is what I want you to think about. This is what I want you to accept. These are the beliefs I want you to accept, and this is the core value system that I want you to have.
Agreed.
Right. All right. Moving on. Now that we know that that's some of the things that are being taught in the public school system, the next thing is agendas. Now, when you spoke earlier, Rico, you talked about how we actually have the ability to have a voice in what's being taught in our school systems, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we see, let's take for example the example of the alphabet community coming in and teaching, teaching on the alphabet community and acceptance of the alphabet community, and let's say at the elementary school level, right?
You're just making this up. You're not stating that this is something that has actually happened.
Oh, it has actually happened. I just don't have a record. I just don't have
If it's the reading thing, I just want us to be clear, because I followed up on the drag reader.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that was at the library. That wasn't at a school.
Okay. No. It was at a school because I saw it on TV at a school. But I forgot.
I know it was at the libraries, and they've been doing it for years. And the only thing I wanted to put a little clarity with that is anybody can do anything at a public library.
Right.
Public libraries are right out there. They are open to some of you'd be surprised at the groups that use public space in public libraries. So I just wanted to say that. But if it was specifically at a school, every source I checked that, I found out that they have these drag readers that have been reading for 20 years, but it's always been at a public library. And I was like, well, and I still am not a fan of that, but I'm like, it's the library.
Yeah. I mean, you can't.
So I was just trying to distinguish the difference between what happens in the library and what happens into schools.
No, we're talking about the school system.
Okay. So
the library, and like you said, anybody who wants to rent a room can rent a room.
You can go and you can do
whatever they want to do out there.
Talk about whatever you want. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So, but anyway, getting back to the school system, let's take for example that they want to start teaching the acceptance of that type of behavior, right? Okay. So you as a parent don't want that taught, right? You don't want that taught at that level, right?
Yep.
Okay. So how can you get involved and help and have a voice in what's being taught? Outside of just complaining about it, what can be done, Rico?
Well, people need to understand that school education is at the local level. So
Okay.
you can scream to the federal government all you want. They have nothing to do with how your school is run. It comes down to the city, out to the county, out to the state. That's a state function, public education. So if you're in the state of Texas and they teaching about the LGBT community in your particular county, then the people of that county, that's what they wanted. And the people, okay, teachers cannot teach what they want. They are instructed on what they can teach on, period. They do not have free reign to teach whatever they want to teach on, because that's not the way education works. So the way that the education works is every state usually has a state school superintendent or state secretary of education, whatever the hell the title is. And they sit there and will set the base minimum curriculum of the core courses for that state. Take here the state of Maryland. So the state school superintendent dictates to all the counties that your schools from K through 12 are to teach these core subjects to get a diploma from the state. Because your diploma, your school credentials come from the state. It doesn't even come from locally. Even in California, it's the California Board of Education confers to you these credentials for you to graduate from high school, the state minimum standard. Then it'll go down to the county. And then you'll have a county superintendent, and they take these core courses, and then they go down to the county, and they'll go out to the local jurisdiction and the local school boards. Where the additional stuff, so this is how all the core stuff comes. The additional stuff that's done is voted on. It's usually decided by your local school board. So like here where I live, there's Rockville, the city of Rockville and the county of Montgomery County, or the Montgomery County School Board. They vote on the additional curricula that all the schools K through 12 can teach. So if I see a school here teaching some LGBT stuff, Montgomery County was good with it. Now, how can you influence it? One, you usually vote for those school board members. They're not appointed. Those are usually elected positions. Sometimes they can be appointed, but even if they're appointed by your county executive or your mayor, you vote for them. So even if you go, well, I didn't appoint him, well, you voted for the person who appointed him. So you got the power at the ballot box, but we just don't exercise it. We just rather complain. Also, typically school boards, when they're giving out, you can write to your local school board and you can see what the curriculum that's allowed. That's public information. Your tax dollars pay for you to get that information. When they have the school boards, usually when they want to make a change, it's usually open to the public to come and speak on it. We don't show up because we're too busy or we don't care. But then whatever is taught, we complain after it's been put into place, because usually they'll have these board meetings. We're proposing to do this. It'll be 90 days. The public can speak on it. They weigh the pros, how many people are for it, how many people are against it. It goes back and forth. And if you don't, there's certain places and points in time where you can get a bunch of parents together. That's how they did that old CRT stuff. A couple of those butthurt white parents got upset. They got all their other Karens together and they flooded out of those school board meetings. And every school board meeting around the country had a bunch of angry ass white parents screaming about CRT. That's how it gets shut down. So if we want to shut something down, we can have a bunch of angry ass black parents speaking out on stuff. It's just rarely ever do we see that where that comes up. So what I'm saying is that it's not like these people just do this stuff they do it on their own, but these are people that usually we voted on, or we voted on someone who appointed them. And then if you want to change something, you got to take your ass to the ballot box. It's just that simple. But they're not going to change anything in the middle of the school year. Rarely ever will they do that. It can't. Education is like, it moves like an iceberg. So if you want something changed for next year, you got to get started on it this year. You got to do this shit now. Well, it's too late for next year. They're already rolling out what next year's education is, because we're in the middle of the summer. They've already ordered books, because for books, they have to order and pay for books. Oh,
Right.
that's a process.
Right.
Well, now it's like they've already decided what they're going to teach, what materials they're going to need, and so on and so forth. That stuff is long ago ordered, and you didn't say anything. Well, your kid's just going to learn that shit.
Right.
And that's you have to become involved. If education is your thing, then you need to be involved in how education works at your local level. And you go talk to the principal on up, and they'll give you all the information you need to have whatever influence you want. It ain't that hard, but you just got to get up off your behind and do the work. If you don't, you don't care.
There you go. And it's difficult to complain about, well, they teaching this and they teaching that. They teaching CRT. They teaching the alphabet community. Okay, well, if you got a problem, then you can go to your school board. Mm-hmm. Or they not teaching. I want them to teach CRT. Yes. I want them to teach the alphabet. Okay, well, then you got to go to the school board and you got to get involved. Because if you don't get involved, we as Black people, man, I'm telling you, but we are the most uninvolved people, but yet stay complaining the most, right? And so now, after this show, you ain't gonna be able to say, I don't know what I need to do. I don't know. You can complain all you want.
Have you done anything? No, then you don't care. What have you done? Nothing. Then you don't care. And it don't mean showing up you're going to win, but at least then you got a voice. Then when you run into the news channel and complaining, you can say, I was at the board. I wrote these letters. That's how the white folks get it done. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When they said they were butthurt, they were on the news, goddamn parking lot, busting at the rim. They worked too, got off work, and took their ass to that school board meet, because school board meets are held in the evening. They're not held in the middle of the day. They usually hold them at night. So all that, I ain't got time. Them white folk that was there sitting there complaining about CRT got their ass off work and went to that school board meet and said, we don't want no CRT, even though it wasn't even there. They got that wasn't even in. Okay? and in Florida, got the governor to sign a law to take out something that wasn't even there.
That's the politics game, man. That's politics. That's the politics game right there, man.
You can't make this shit up. They just did. And I was just like, I was like, hey, they showed up. They showed up. They showed up and showed out.
They tell you there's a monster coming, and you just sign right here and we'll kill the monster. But there was never no monster in the first place.
And we won't even show up and play the race card. I'm like, show up and play the race card. You know what I'm saying? Show up and play the race card. You'll get them off the back a little bit, but like, man, I'm tired. Okay, well then be too tired to complain when they doing whatever it is they doing, because I'm telling you,
our people are trying to have a social life, Rico.
That's why, and that's just why Texas said we weren't slaves, we were involuntary relocated workers, and that shit won't get in there again. Because if it wasn't for that one black politician that called the newspaper, they was gonna change that shit.
Yep.
Because I guarantee you,
she voted it down. But
guess what? Everybody else voted for it. She voted no. She had to go get the newspaper because she didn't have no help in that meeting.
Right.
I bet you when she turned around the meeting, she was like a damn dropping a drop of chocolate in a bowl of milk. So and it's kind of hard when you're trying to do something like that. And you're trying to do it for the culture, and it's just you or you and a handful of you, and then you get shouted down 10-1. It's kind of hard.
Well, the sad part about that, Rico, is probably the school district was a healthy number of the students were probably black, and none of them was there. None of them was there to represent.
And like I said, you're right, and that's what's crazy. You'll be at a predominantly black school system, and nobody shows up.
Right, they get to just do what they want.
Then
we complain about it. We complain about it.
Why would I tell a drag queen that they can? Wait a minute. The drag queen want to come in and read to the kids. What the hell I'm gonna say no for? Somebody trying to read to them. Guess who?
Exactly. That's a good point.
I can't get nobody else to come read to them.
Good point.
The drag queen volunteering to come read to them, and guess what? I don't hear none of the parents here saying no.
Because they ain't there.
I'm on the school board. I'm like, okay.
And then the rest of y'all want to read.
It might be a dumb idea, but I'm on the school board. I'm like, well, shit, ain't nobody here complaining. Nobody else is trying to read. Go on, let them do it. And that's how some of that stuff happens.
Yeah.
Because that's the same thing at the school. You go to the school, they'll tell you the PTA, parents don't want to show up. It's the same thing. If they barely show up to meet with their teachers, they definitely ain't going to show up to a damn school board meeting.
Yeah.
And they don't even want to show up to meet with their children's teacher to talk to them about their child.
And I wanted to. I used to hate it, man. I didn't want to go, and then after you go to the meeting, wait, Rico, you go to the meeting, right? You meet all the teachers, and then you thinking you done. No, they got a book drive. We got to go to the book drive, and then we got to go to the bake sale. And I'm like, man, I thought this thing was gonna be over in an hour. Right?
I used to hate to go for one reason. Because I just knew they were going to tell me how fucked up my kids was. I was like, well, I had to have my kids like, what am I here? What am I here? What am I here? So
we reserve the principal's office for you. Can you come in here?
Why I got to be counselor? Right? So,
my oldest boy was the same way, man.
So I only say all that to show that, our lack of participation, if you're not going to the PTA and you're not meeting with the teachers, then you ain't gonna go to a school board. And if you don't go to the school board meetings, like you said, Clint, you used to hate to go, then you can't complain about nothing they do because they will decide it without your input.
Yeah. So, but I knew I had to go to Rico. I knew I had to go.
Right.
But I just didn't want to go because
you're
tired, right? You get off of work.
How many school board meetings did you go to?
School board, but maybe like one or two. Not even a lot. I can't even lie. Not even a lot at all.
So whatever they put out is just, and they make those things are public. They are public.
Yeah.
They cannot have them in private.
I was pretty good. I was pretty cool with at that time what was being pushed. Man. So I was pretty cool with it, but I didn't have no real major objections. But I still should have went. You're right. I still should have went.
Oh no. I'm just telling people like, look, this is how it is.
Yeah,
that is a local issue. Your education is a local issue. That is not. It's not even a state issue. It's a local issue. It's certainly in the federal government, and that's one of the issues that we are closest to at the local area. But you have to get involved. That is a local issue everywhere, and if you don't get involved, then they will be teaching. And like I said, I'll admit, back then for me, it wasn't a lot of issues that I was really wildly that I would be a little bit more concerned today than I was when I had to, thank God. But folks, like I said, the white folks make time for it. I know we busy, so I'm not gonna beat up nobody, that's black. I'm like, I know we busy, I know we gotta work, but I'm like, damn, they work too.
Rico,
that's why I just don't understand. They work too.
Rico, can I shout some people out?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, let me shout out to Brother Chris. Shout out, Brother Chris. Glad to have you in the building, my brother. And I think I got everybody else. I think I got everybody else. Got April. Got
crazy Tristan else. With his crazy.
Yeah, I got Tristan already. I got Inya. I got Riz. Okay. All right. So
hopefully this is just an understanding, an explanation of how because like I said, I know that education, and we're all in different locales, but your education wherever you are is run locally. So whether you're out there in Arizona with OG, California with Clarence, Maryland here with me, or wherever you are in the country, your education, it's directed down from the state, but locally you can have a lot of influence on what they teach.
All right, Rico,
mm-hmm.
We got a special lady in the house.
Yes, we do.
We got somebody, man. I mean, if you need somebody to come, if you have some type of party or something, and you need somebody to come through and sing Car Wash or one of these other songs, man, this sister, man, she can knock it out. She can knock it out, man.
Let me say, Sister Risa, I agree. I'm not saying that they can't. We're not saying, well, we did say they can't complain. But y'all gonna complain anyway, so we'll say
you can't go. I don't know about can't complain, Risa. Right. How about this? They should not complain.
Right.
Before you complain, complaining should be at the last That should be the last action taken. Right.
So,
That should be the last action taken.
Right. So I want to correct that. We know with day one, we ain't trying to get our head. Your time us out. But
you don't want Patrice or Aretha mad at you at all. At all.
I had to fix that. I need to fix this shit.
Good morning, sis. What's going on with you? Good afternoon, rather.
Yeah, good afternoon, brothers. How y'all doing?
Doing good, sis. Doing good. Hey, you know what, Patrice? Before you get started, I have got to give you your flowers for when I saw you on the Book of Genesis.
Oh, thank you.
Girl, you killed it. Actually, the whole panel did except for one guy or guy, girl, I don't know what. When that damn clue came in, I was like, oh, Lord, have mercy.
Yeah, that was a distraction.
That was wild. But other than that, I have to give you your flowers for, of course, everything you put forth to the conversation. You, Sister Genesis, L. Nixon. Great channel. You know, like I said, I found it following Mr. Long, but that was a great stream. And you held it down and made me so freaking goddamn proud of you, sister.
I appreciate it, brother. Y'all make me proud too. It's so funny. Y'all talking about this this situation, and I had a conversation with I went to meet the guy that's running for Congress here in Arizona. Remember when I had to leave Sunday, and we were talking about things like this. I told y'all know me. I bring the questions up, right? So check this. So, we talked about, I brought up everything, and he has a very disappointing, and rightly so, point of view of blacks in America, because of, the stubbornness in our culture of, thinking that we're going to continue to do the same thing and get different results. And that's asinine, right? And he's just kind of sick of it. He told me he used to be a Democrat. He's running for Congress as a Republican. And man, we had some interesting conversations, I will say. And I told him that I would like for us to interview him. So we're going to get ready and get that in the works. And I want everybody, hopefully we'll have all our supporters to have an open mind to listen to what he has to say. And I think it will be interesting. So I am going to be supporting him and working, helping him with his campaign here in Arizona. And he's a brother. He actually played for the NFL. Let me tell y'all now, I got two guys, because his buddy that was there, his name, oh God, let me get it right. Last name is Caswell. He used to play for the Raiders. They all retired now, but we're gonna be interviewing him too. And this guy, Davison, his name is Jerome Davison. He played for the Raiders and another team. But they both retired, but they got a lot of good stuff going on here in Arizona. So I told y'all, in order for us to have any type of tangibles, any type of things, we're going to have to get involved politically, at some point, if you want to see results happening for our people, So I met this brother for the first time and literally had the serious conversation. I said, hey brother, so how's it going for you as far as, with the black people? And he's very disappointed. He's like, I'm just tired of, our people just thinking that, they're going to get different results for doing the same thing that we've been doing for decades and decades. So we had an interesting conversation. So I wanted to let y'all guys know I want to get something scheduled to put him on a calendar, and then put the other brother. Damn, he got initials. The first part of his name is initials. AC. Yes, AC Caswell. Yes, that's him. So I met both of those brothers, and I'm gonna be interviewing them. I have to meet with AC this weekend for a meeting so we can discuss the particulars, because he gives they give real big political parties, right? And AC hosts a lot of stuff, and people come from the Raiders. They come from all over, from Vegas to California and here. So he's giving something in November, and guess who he hired to be the entertainment for the event in November. Yes,
Kanye West?
truly, honey. Yes, true.
Kanye West?
Okay, bro. Really, bro. Really. But yeah. So yeah. Listen, I'm telling. I see. This is why y'all know I be out here in these streets, right?
Yeah, man, that's a good plug, sis. Yeah,
You
get
know,
it.
I be working hard, trying to get some tangible things done for real for our
Yeah,
people. But
yeah,
our people we got to do better, man. We are falling so behind. Like y'all just talking about these meetings at school, and I was a part of the book program, and I'm there in these meetings because of the book program. And I tell you, y'all was spot on. Our people not in the room.
right.
They not making their voice be heard. They
Yeah.
not making any kind of demands for any kind of tangibles. They not bringing no agendas to the table. I had this conversation with this brother that's running for Congress, and he was like, "We can talk about it." I said, "But I need you. You're gonna need to come on to Black platforms so you can talk to our people." I
Yeah,
said, "I know our people are stubborn and we
yeah,
stuck in our ways." I said, "But brother, I think that some of them are coming around. Some of them are having a change of mind and a change of heart, and knowing that if they have been doing the same thing and voting the same way for umpteen years and it ain't got them nowhere, maybe they'll listen, things like that, just to kind of get a difference of opinion." Even though he's running for Congress here in Arizona, my thing is I'm an Arizona native now, so a resident now, not native but resident, and I'm like, okay, I want to know what you're gonna do, for our people, and what you're gonna do for us, helping get some things pushed. If you become a congressman, you can take the stuff all the way to Congress, right? So
right.
I'm hanging around the right people, and this is what we got to learn to do, guys. We got to be in the room in order to get shit done, and it's not going to
Right.
always be with
Good
people
point.
that you particularly like or rock with or whatever.
Right.
But if they are willing to get something done for us, guys, we got to be at the goddamn table, and in order for us to do that, we got to be in the room.
Good point. Good point. Good point, Patrice. Good point. Good point. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what this is all about today here. Just setting the standard for what if you got a problem with something, okay, instead of because us as black people, when white people have a problem with something, these are the conversations they have. Okay, guys, we got to get together. We got to get in the room. We got to do this, and so white people they get together, right? Shout out to them. But when we have a problem with something, they tell us go back to Africa, right? We don't even. It's not even a thought of, hey, we can change our reality by just following simple you know systems that's in place for us to change things, right? So that's good. I'm glad you're here with that, Patrice. Now, what I want to do, y'all, is I want to go to now. There was a time where the American education was ranked like one or two in the world, right? I think it was maybe 30 years ago, 40 years, maybe even 50 years ago, right? Let's look at where the American education, as reported by the governments. This is from a website called factsmaps.com, right? And what they do is take the scores, the government scores from countries all over the world, and they rank them based on those scores in mathematics, science, and reading. Number one is China, right? Number two, Singapore. Number three, Mexico. Number four, Hong Kong, China. Number five, Estonia. Number six, Japan. Number seven, South Korea. Number eight, Canada. Have I said the U.S. yet?
nope.
Okay. Canada and Taiwan are tied for number eight. This is as of I think 2018. All right. So number 10. This is remember mathematics, science, and reading. Number
Let's go.
10.
Where's the U.S.? Find the U.S.
We almost there. Finland 10.
I don't see nowhere on
Poland.
the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah, I know, but you got to keep going down.
Ireland, Slovenia is number 13, and with the United Kingdom. I want you to see the people that's in front of you. New Zealand,
Half the world.
Netherlands, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, Belgium, Austria, Switzerland. You see the connection with all of these different places that I'm naming. All right, Switzerland, Norway, Czechia, and finally number 25, the United States. Okay, so we are 25th. We moved from I think one. We used to be either one or two, and over the years, we've moved down to number 25 as far as test scores. I mean, we're talking about student test scores in mathematics, science, and reading, right? These are government numbers. Clarence, you making this up? No, I'm not. These are government numbers. You can go to what's that? Because they get it off of that same website. It's a government website. I got it down here, but they get this off of the test scores that the government gets and holds and keeps track of. Now,
but Glenn, we have to be at the top of that. That would probably, this is high school because it says 15-year-old students.
Right.
So let's be mindful of that. But I mean, yeah, still probably.
But I mean, it's
probably not much different at middle
students,
school
right?
or grade school either. Still probably roughly.
Okay, so let's break it down.
No, I'm just saying. I just wanted that information to be known. But I'm like, just
yeah, that's fine. That's fine, Rico. All right, so now looking at that, I want to switch over to something else real quick because now I want to talk about just the U.S. right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we got going on in the U.S. Okay, here we go. Can you guys see this? Okay. So
I can't. I'm on my phone. It don't matter, but go ahead.
I'll read it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this says 9-year-olds in 1973. 9-year-olds, black 9-year-olds were testing out. They had the lowest test scores in mathematics. This is average math scale score by age selected by student characteristics selected years 1973 to 2004. Okay. So this is 9-year-olds, right? Black 9-year-olds. White test score 225, Hispanic test score 202, black test scores 190.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's 1973. And we jump all the way over to 2004. Well, blacks are the lowest test scores in every year. But let's jump over to 2004. White at 247, Hispanic 230, and of course black at 224.
So we close the gap.
Again. That's 9-year-olds.
Yeah, for 9-year-olds, right.
That's jump up to 13-year-olds.
Oh, but you know what? Do this. Look, go back up though for 1 second.
Okay.
Stop right there because I wanted to look at the region too. See how somehow it shows a different like under region, northeast, southeast, central, and west. So there's even a difference. Well, that's overall, so that doesn't separate the race. That's just the overall region. But if you look at it, the Northeast has the highest scores.
Right.
Probably
because they're the ones
through.
going to they're the ones more involved. The parents are more involved, I think, in my opinion.
And generally, the lowest scores tend to follow the Southeast, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, so on and so forth.
Right.
So the region
they would be the least involved. Does that make sense? That they would be the least involved?
I don't know if they're the least involved. I think their overall public education is worse.
Parent-wise.
I don't think it's involvement parent-wise. I just think that the overall education. I think some of the southern school systems are just more jacked up.
But why are they jacked up? Because the people are not involved in making sure that it gets put together properly.
And a lot of the state governments underfund their schools like shit.
But they underfunded them because the people are not involved.
Yeah.
The government to get involved.
Well, people vote for the people who do that shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do.
Point, Rico. Yeah. The people that
you're right.
And the people that are not voting are the ones probably complaining the most, right?
Yeah.
But
you're right.
I concur.
We're gonna do our homework. We're gonna do our homework, y'all. We're gonna show them the.
Now we're on 13-year-olds.
Okay, now we're gonna move up to 13-year-olds, right? It's broken down by sex, broken down by race. So we who know that there is an epidemic in education, in the education system for blacks, we know that. So we go right to that, right? No, nothing against no one else, but we understand that there's an epidemic of lack of understanding education in the black community. So we want to deal with that epidemic, right? Okay, so now we're talking about 13-year-olds, and we're talking about math, science, and reading, right? Okay. Yep. Of course, in 1973, the top score was the whites at 274. Under them was the Hispanics at 239, and of course, blacks bringing up the rear again at 228. Right? This is for 13-year-olds. Okay, let's go over to 2004.
We close the gap again.
Whites are at 288.
Mm-hmm.
The Hispanics at 265, and of course, blacks are at the bottom again with 262. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So I'm just showing you the numbers right now because I got to ask you guys a question. All right. So now we jump up to 17-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're still talking about math, science, and reading. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Whites 310, Hispanics 277, and blacks 270. Those are test scores as of 1973.
Mm-hmm.
1973. Right?
Yep.
Let's jump over to 2004. Whites at 313, Hispanics at 289, and of course, blacks bringing up the rear again at 285. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's my point? Now, these are government numbers. This is the website at National Center for Education and Statistics, and the website is nces.ed.gov. Mm-hmm. You can go here and look at these numbers if you want to. Class, you're making up these numbers. These are the numbers. You can go look them up if you want to. All right. So why am I pointing this out? I'm pointing this out because, okay, is the school system is supposed to, on the surface, it's supposed to be giving us an opportunity to do whatever we want to do, but the main issue is to not be in poverty. That is what is quote unquote the said but unsaid thing that's supposed to be being taught. You're supposed to be being taught enough information to where you can control whether you're going to be in poverty or not. Is that? Would you guys agree with me on that?
Agree with you on what?
When it comes to
the premise of the public education, the premise is so that you can have enough information so that you will not be, you will have the opportunity to not be impoverished.
Okay, I'll accept it.
Yeah, education wise, yeah, when they pushing education and saying, and they've been pushing that on us, saying that is the best way to get out of poverty. So yeah, I would say yes.
Okay, on the surface, but as you can see, when we look at the test scores, especially in particular for blacks, they're not doing good, and they pretty much are steady holding up the rear as far as test scores are concerned. Right? Would you guys agree with that based on what we just saw?
Right. Well, what was the last year that you just did the stats? Okay. So are you going to move up the needle up to current, or
I can only get
where you going with it?
Well,
okay.
where I'm going with it is the public school system, which most black people attend the public school system, are the results there that we want on a mass scale? Now we got some people that slip through the cracks.
Right, but overall, no, absolutely not. Especially when you're talking grade and middle school, which are some of the prominent points in order for the children to graduate, moving further into middle school and then into high school. So absolutely not. They're failing us actually.
Okay. Now one more graphic I want to show us real quick. One more graphic, y'all. Bear with me. All right. Now this chart shows the changes in trends in reading and mathematics scores. Okay. So 2020 reading score compared to 2012 and 1971, right? In 1971, reading scores were higher by 12 points than in 2012, right? Right?
Yeah. And there's no change. No, there's no change. It's 12 points higher than 2020.
There's no significant change here.
Right.
No
between 2012 and 2020 for reading scores.
Okay. Reading
or
scores.
math
Age
for
9. Age 9.
Age 9. No change.
Okay, let's jump down to age 13.
There's a 3-point drop.
There's a 3-point drop. It was 5 points higher in 1971, and there's a 3-point drop. This is just for Americans across the board. Mm-hmm. This is just American students across the board. Okay. Now let's go over to mathematics. Mathematics. 9-year-olds. In 1973, it was higher by 22 points. Hi-yi-yi.
Then 2012. So that means our kids got dumber.
That's the point, Rico.
They've gotten dumber since 71.
That's the point. And age 13-year-olds, they are 5 points lower.
Mm-hmm.
And they were 14 points higher in 1973.
Yeah, so 2012, they were 5 points higher, and they were 14 points higher. So it went down.
Correct.
Below. The 2020 scores went lower than the 2012 scores by 5 points.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
now, why am I showing you guys this? Because I want to talk about this. I want to say, okay, so now that we looked at this and we see that these scores, we have government proof that public education alone is. We have government proof on so many levels that the public educational system has some holes in it. Would you guys agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the main things is funding. A lot of the funding has been taken out. A lot of the extracurriculars are gone. It's a lot that contributes to that.
Okay. So that being said, what's the solution to getting this righting this ship? In particular, America has a problem in education, but in particular, Black students have a serious problem because they have been. It's been accepted that they will always remain circling the drain as far as test scores and as far as understanding.
I mean, yeah, and the poor, the neighborhoods and communities, the worst those scores make a difference as well. So yeah.
Okay. So then now what we already talked about, if the scores are going to be lower, that means that the chances of moving on to higher education are probably going to lessen. Correct? If that's the case, how are our people who need to be educated in the STEM in the STEM fields, how are they going to get educated in those STEM fields if they're not having the educational experience necessary to prepare them to move forward in higher education?
Rico.
How they gonna Rico. What was the question again, Clarence?
If it's clear that our children in particular, America in general, but our children in particular, epidemically have this issue where, like Kay came out here and talked about implicit bias, where they have where teachers have a bias that just the Black students just don't learn good. They're just not, and why waste time trying to teach the ones that have an issue? Why waste that time? Let's teach the ones that want to learn and that's able to get it right away. Let's just teach those ones, right? That's probably what's happening in a lot of these instances with these Black students. So how are we going to get around that as parents and supporters trying to support these Black students to get into the STEM fields? Because STEM fields, usually that education comes at higher levels of learning.
Most of them are not getting in the STEM fields.
If they that's the point.
What I'm saying, most of them will not get into it. That's the point. The point of the matter is the only thing that can fix it, the only way they can is parental involvement, which we know there's a huge deficit there and parental additional funding. If the school won't fund it, then you got to fund it out of your pocket. And I don't see either of those two things changing just because my heart wishes it, unless you or I are going to go out and pay for all these kids out of our pocket, Clarence, or unless we're going to get involved, it's just not going to happen.
Make Patrice read to all of them.
That's what I'm just sitting there saying. It's like like I said, that's the only fix because the school system itself, I don't know if it has the resources and the funding to do it, as Patrice said, and minus the funding to do remedial math and reading for the kids who need it and the parents being involved, it's not going to change. It just isn't. So, I mean, it's a question without an answer, or an answer that we know that they ain't going to do.
Right.
They got to get out there and they got to do homework with their kids and not put the kids in basketball camp and football camp, but put them in fucking math camp or science camp. And we just don't do it, Clarence. So I'm not even going to kid myself with trying to answer what we know we don't do.
Yeah.
Short of that, they ain't getting it. They're not doing STEM. I don't care how good and attractive it is. My baby gonna be a football player. My baby gonna be a dancer. We just ain't gonna do it. Stop asking for an answer that you know the answer. We ain't gonna do it. So unless these kids are pushed in that direction, unless the parents are going to be involved, unless the very people who oftentimes, most of these kids, they come from uneducated homes. There's your answer.
Well, I mean,
you got the kid either got to find it in themselves to say, hey, I'm going to break the cycle, which that's a heavy lift, and they all, some do it. Some do it.
Yeah, we're gonna talk
about it. and they have to have some kind of support system, even if they're not getting it from their parents. And hopefully it will be from a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, somebody. And that's a lot of times where we fail our children too, because we'll see that potential in them to be smart as a whip. You know, because I got some younger kids that grew up like that in my family, and if it wasn't for the help from me or my brothers or my mother's people that had the resources to help at the time, because I got some trifling relatives, and they kids was smart as a whip, but the parent was like subpar, and it's like you ain't investing in your kid, and he's so smart and so intelligent, so somebody had to step up and do it in the family to help them. You know what I mean? So yeah, and that's a lot of times, even as a community with family members, sometimes we don't even do.
But what's very important about what you said, Patrice, is the sad part about it is, let me say this the right way. You got families where the parents and the family will be in the child's way of success, where they will do everything possible to sabotage it. So even if you're outside and you trying to come in and you trying to do this, not motherfucking child, you don't tell me.
Yep.
You get that. You will get that. Even when I was doing, you'll get that, where like they don't want. Parents become very envious of another adult
doing for their child when they see investing in their child. Yeah,
you got I damn they had to fight parents to try to help their kids. You know how heavy a lift that is? Like, I'm trying to help this little motherfucker and I gotta fight you too.
Child, I done bought graduation clothes. I done helped pay for classes. And listen, and
fight them. That's the heavy. That's the heavy lift on your heart. It's like, why the fuck am I fighting you?
Yeah, that's crazy. I only had one child. My son is very intelligent. Graduated as the top of his class. Went to New York. Got his degree. He's well traveled. He worked his way up from a mentor of a program all the way to the VP right now of that very said program. That's how long he stayed with the organization, which is a nonprofit. So I always instilled in my son to give back. But my son, listen, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. So did my son. I was a teen mother, but I only had one child, but I instilled in him about education and about giving and about giving back to your community. And he specifically loves to be in mentorship and nonprofit organizations where you're giving back to children in the lesser urban communities in the Black neighborhoods. That's what he do. And he travel all over and get these schools set up for these particular type of mentorship programs. So yeah. But it's so many people, listen, fighting so many people in your own damn family. So imagine trying to fight, a parent of a child, like I had that one young little boy that I got attached to at the school. And I know that, he was very poor because I could tell the way he would come dressed to school all the time. And I said I wrote a note and asked him to take it home to his mother to see if she mind that when they had this little talent thing, that if I could buy him something. I told him, send a note and have your mom, if she says okay, to sign it. I said, and nobody have to know. And they had a talent contest, and this young man has talent. And I said, you need to look presentable. You're gonna look so handsome. And I went and I just, got a size of his little pants and shirt and shoes and socks and stuff. And I bought him a little outfit to do. When I tell you the things like that makes such a difference in children's lives, to just know that it ain't just always got to come from a parent. It just got to come from somebody that cares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely.
that's your answer, Clarence. Like I said, I hate to say it ain't gonna happen. I'm just saying for most of us it ain't, because the obstacles are too big. So unless, like Sister Enya said, is that the parents got to learn how to step out of their mindset. And so few of them, and like I said, these our community, we got 19, 20-year-old mamas. She a damn child herself.
Exactly. And a lot of them trifling. I'm gonna just be real. A lot of them are uneducated. They uneducated themselves, and and
I
trying to
have grandkids like that with my second oldest son.
Hell, baby, I got some nieces. I got a niece. I got a niece and a cousin, baby.
We sit around and talk to them. I was at my granddaughter's birthday party. I was talking to my younger son. I was like, I love them, but they gone. We all talk about it because you can't get through to my son. The mama just as bad. And anytime you try to go over there and try to do something, you got to fight. I got to fight both of them to try to do something for them badass kids of theirs. So they got badass kids, and I got to fight the mother and father to try to do something nice for them damn 3 badass grandkids of mine. I'd be like, man, goddamn it, I'm done. Shit.
Yeah, I got a niece, her daughter. Her daughter, she got 2 kids, and Lord knows she didn't need now one of them, but she got 2 kids, and the oldest girl, when I tell you smart, is a whip top of her class too. Same thing. And her mother just is, I'll be so mad at her mother. But, and this is my brother's daughter, one of my brother's daughters, and he has to constantly be there for that child, because the mama is just like, he won't put no money in my niece's hand, because she ain't gonna do what she supposed to do with it for her own daughter. So he goes and buys her stuff and takes her, and things himself, because you can't put the money in the mama hand. That's just how bad she is. It's ridiculous.
But the sad part about it is the kids, because they so love the mother and father so much, they're emulating their behaviors now. Because that's what me and my younger son told me. Like, we already sitting there saying, like, Lord, he's like, Dad, she 11, starting to get developed. We scared something gonna happen to her because she emulating her mother's behavior.
Oh man.
And her mother couldn't keep draws on her ass.
Oh,
man. So it's like things that she just shouldn't see. I'm like, every time I went around there, I catch a secondhand buzz off the contact high from the damn marijuana that been smoked all in the damn house. Yeah, I mean, because they just don't care. They don't see.
I agree, because that's all my niece want to do is get high. Where the blunts at? What's smoking on the blunt? Oh my God!
I'll be like outside.
Are you helping?
I can't take this shit.
I cannot. I cannot. Like me and her, like, I don't care if you are my family. If you trifling, if you this or that, like, I don't deal with you. I don't deal with you. I love you from afar, but you trifling and what you doing. He's not being a good mother.
The 3-year-old smell like weed.
There you go.
Smoking? No, they'll smoke around the kids. Nah. Like, damn, why the baby smell like weed?
I just have zero tolerance. I just have zero tolerance for it. I don't care if you are my family. You can be way over there. You miss me. I ain't got time for it.
And my thing is, I only get upset about. I'm like, look, I don't care what y'all do, but I mean, smoke it all you want, but do something with your kids.
Right.
Do something positive.
Right.
So they live in that inner city, urban, like The Wire and shit. They live in one of them areas. It ain't in Baltimore. It's in D.C. And they don't want to leave out. And I'm like, I mean, literally, it was like, I take my grandson. Milo got to be 8. And I'd be like, I'm going to kill this little mofo. I mean, and you know, they'll be like, when you take them to somewhere nice, because it's nice, they got an attitude. And, you know, because they want to do that ghetto shit that they do at home. And I'm like, we're not doing that out here, okay? Sit your ass down and play with these kids like you got some sense. But they want to be all rough and throw kids off the monkey bars. I'm like, people don't play like that out here. Stop it, Milo. Stop doing that. You know, but they want to kick you off the slide. I'm like, you can't be kicking kids off the slide board. What the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, even between your daddy always smoking that mess around you.
And it's environment, and it's unfortunately that a lot of times those children become a product of their environment and where they're being raised, and that's so unfortunate, because a lot of times it depends on the development of their minds of which way they're gonna go when they get older.
Those 3 are. I had 11 grandkids. Those 3 are toast already, and the oldest is 11. Milo's got to be 9. And the youngest Cameron got to be 7. They're toast. Literally. It's just like you can see it's already seeped in them, because you can see kids at that age. I've seen kids at that age, and I prayed it wouldn't be them. But I kind of knew, because I knew what the mother got like a middle school education. The girl never finished high school.
Oh.
So, you know what I'm saying? That type. But of course, my son, but she cute. Yeah, she can't keep drawers on her ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hey, you done fought half your friends because she done messed with your friends. I'm like, why you want to be with her? But as bad as she is, he's worse. But he wasn't raised like that. I gave her a little bit of sympathy because, as uneducated as she is, I knew her mother and father her daddy was in and out of jail, so she didn't even have a daddy. And they're uneducated. So I was like, okay, she came from that stock. She's that stock. He didn't come from that. He just gravitated towards that and fell in with it. And I'm like, dynamite can't blow him out of that shit. So I'm like, you just lost.
Rico. I agree with Enya. Don't say that, Rico. Don't say that.
No, I'm not saying it that I wish it. I'm just sitting there saying
I know.
If you've seen it so many times.
I know. I got a niece the same way. I know. Yeah. I saw this baby when she was a baby, beautiful baby. And her mother was just out of her mind. And I kept saying to her, I said, hey man, this baby, you can't talk to this baby like this. She'll be screaming at this baby like a person, right? And I'll be saying, this is just a baby 2 years old. I mean, if you keep doing that, she's gonna be out of her mind too.
Yeah.
So
and let me be correct. I'm not casting them away. I'm just saying that when I say that they're done, it's like because we can't get past the parents. So every time I try to get to the kids I gotta fight my son and his baby mama, and they are anything good I do, I can get them for the weekend, take them down there, in about 1 hour, all the good is washed out of, not because of them, because of the parents. They're the ones that I say will sabotage their kids. He don't want his kids to have better than
him. Let's look at it in a larger framework, Rico. Yeah. Are we sabotaging our children? Are we sabotaging them? By meaning, are we as Black people?
I think some are, yes.
Okay.
I even think the community as a whole, let me tell you this, the community as a whole,
shout out to Mr.
even if it's not your individual kid, I do think that we need to, as a community, the things that I don't think it's, like, I have nothing against music and athlete. I like it all. I enjoy it all. But I do think collectively, we seem to just, too many of us seem to put too much emphasis on things that matter less, as opposed to and not enough emphasis. We need to go back to the place where before the 1960s, everybody wanted their kid to be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Back in those days, that was the thing that was
professional person.
To break yourself out of the cycle was to be a professional. Right. And now we just seem like we don't care about those anymore. If we could get back to that space, because there was a point in time where everybody, my son, he's a preacher. He's a preacher. You know, they would love for him to be a preacher because that was considered respectable. a preacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, and like now nobody seems to want to. We seem to have lost respect for those professions, and they're still super admirable, and that's where I think we've sort of gotten away from. We've gotten away to all about the bag rather than about upholding people who do honorable, admirable positions. We don't talk about teachers.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that, Rico. Let's get to that.
But I'm gonna say this right quick. Like my niece, the one I'm talking about, when she was little, before I had started doing like major touring, I begged her mother, y'all. Let me tell you, I begged her mother to let me have her.
Wow.
And she wouldn't do it.
No.
I told her, and I said you could keep, because she was on welfare. I said because she had lots of other kids. I said, and she had one by my brother. I said, look, I said you can keep the money and the food stamps. I said let me have her, because I was getting on the weekends, taking her shopping. We were going to museums. I was giving her culture, taking her out to eat. When she was with me, she was thriving, guys. And I begged her mother to let me have. And now I promise you, I can't listen. I don't want to say I can't stand her, but I can't stand her. Like,
but that's what I'm talking about.
Because she's not a good mother to her own two kids now. And that's why I know it makes a difference sometimes when you have somebody in your life. And she did cry one day to her mom and say, when my auntie wanted me, why you wouldn't let me go to my auntie? But I said, but you can't just blame your mom for the choices that you made now that you're grown, sweetie.
Yeah. All right. So like I said, I had a niece like that.
That's spot on.
I had a niece like that, and she's beautiful, just like my granddaughter. Beautiful little girl, full of life, asking questions, very smart, everything. And I said, I was telling her mother, because her mother was just out of her mind, man. She was so bad that she ended up having to live with me for a little while, right? Maybe a year or so. And so, but at that point, I would see this baby, and this baby really she was really smart for her age. She was only 2 years old, but she was really smart. So I said, hey man, this baby's really smart. I don't think you should. And so because I said to her, I don't think you should scream at her like that. The lady got just incensed. You know how y'all know how y'all folks act when you try trying to tell them how to treat their children, right? They gonna start acting a fool, right? So this girl started acting a fool. This is my child. You can't tell me what I can do with my child, and I do what I want to do with my child, and right? Okay, so then they finally got their own place. They moved out, and fast forward 20 years later, the girl, my niece, is living in this like sister wives type situation, and it's all bad. And I was like, got one of her kids is not with her, and I was like, man, what is really going on, man? But I tried to tell the mother 20 something years ago, hey, this is not gonna work. This is not gonna. But they didn't listen. She didn't listen. So I see that actually happen. What you talking about, Rico? I seen it play out, because I knew right then. I said, man, this girl is gonna be in some serious trouble if this continues. And I tried to warn the mother about it, and she didn't listen. So she's gonna show me how crazy she's gonna make this child, and sure enough, she did it. But anyway, y'all, let's talk about because we're talking about the school system, right? And how this affects the things that affect us.
But but just to say that was that, because when we talk about the school, to put it back in on the school,
right?
The schools can't do but so much when all those other conditions that we were talking about just a while ago still exist. So the school is every day, the school's opening its doors to kids like we just talked about. So all the
But bro, Rico, these school districts are pushing a lot of these narratives of a lot of this stuff that's going on. They making them laws, and I told you, states like California, Texas, Georgia, it's certain things becoming law when it comes to how they are trying to sexually transition your children in the school system and literally overrule you as a parent of having a say so. this is real. Like this is a real. Y'all haven't seen none of the videos. The one where a grandfather come up to a school and fussing at the teacher about he sent his grandson to school with pants and shirt on, dressed like a boy, and he come up to the school because the grandbaby went back and told him that the teacher told him to put on a dress for make believe and all this old stuff. like for real. Like I'm telling you, y'all, it's getting crazy.
Shout out to Miss C said, glad to have you building, sis.
So the boy did. Wait a minute. Just to make sure I understand. So the boy didn't want to put on a dress, and they made him.
Correct. Because the teacher is saying, no, it's okay. You know, it's make believe, but you can put the dress on. Yes,
but he never said he wanted. He never said
correct. So, right. So he went back and told his granddad that he put on a dress for make. It's its own video.
No, I'm just saying what state. I was just curious.
I want to say California, but it's one of them states that has passed a law allowing this type of behavior. But Brooklyn's might can pull it up because I watched the video on social media. It's several videos like this all on social media, guys. It's not hard to find. That same what is she? Senator just got elected in Rhode Island that is from the community that was twerking. She was at it's on social media too, where she's at a meeting talking about the type of sex education she wants to teach children at a certain age when it comes to same sex and all and what they do. Yeah, like I'm telling y'all, it's deep. I just thank God I don't have no children going to public school because they won't be there.
Well, let me ask y'all a question. This one's gonna be a little deep.
Mm-hmm.
Why do people have such a problem with the alphabet community teaching children in school? I mean, about the alphabet community.
I've just never seen it or heard of it being. I hear people say it in YouTube. No school system I've ever been associated with during the entirety of my life have I experienced, even as a parent, have I ever seen the alphabet community come into. So I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. I have zero experience. And that's why I've been wondering, like, where the fuck did y'all live that this happened? Now, I've had schools that had alphabet kids and even alphabet teachers, but I've never seen or heard of or been affiliated as a student or a parent any school system that gave any alphabet instruction. But it may exist.
Oh, it's happening, bro. Y'all don't listen to my sister Angela Stanton King in the morning. She was just talking about it this morning and showing the very video I'm telling y'all about the same just elected senator of Rhode Island from their community at some type of meeting, talking about what type of sex that they want to teach children, and that if you teaching them about the certain reproductive system and the heterosexual education, you should be able to be teaching about the same sex and the way they have sex as well. Yeah. And to me, just my opinion, I'm gonna say I think it's a thing that needs to be left up to the parent as far as what part and type that they want to be they want their children to learn. Even if it's heterosexual, you still only want it to go so far. When I was in school, we learned about reproductive system, what the woman body, what my body parts are, what a man's body parts are, and how a baby is made. And as far as it went, it wasn't, the actual act of it was not taught, like the actual act and the different ways, like the different ways of the act, like that wasn't taught in school. Now they're literally pushing this agenda for that to be taught in schools, like the literal different ways you can have intercourse with same sex. And
really,
yeah.
Good question, Patrice. I know, like when I was coming up, we did have sex education, but if I'm not mistaken, I thought sex education was taken out of the schools. Not like because of the funding. That was like one of the courses, like with
Well,
home
you
ec.
learn the basic. You learn the basics, like the reproductive system of a female and and you all system of a man. You learn the basics in that, right? Like I started learning it in 6th grade. Now if they took it out, I don't know. I ain't been to that type of school in a long time.
I know it was there for us, but I don't remember my kids ever taking a sex education course. That's why I thought it was taken out after our generation because of they cut so much shit after we got out of school. So I thought sex education was one of those classes. That would be one of the first ones I would cut before I would cut music and art. I would cut that out. So that's what I didn't even think. So I'm like, so if they're not teaching,
if that's the case, if that is the case, then they bringing it back and they pushing it all the way. They pushing the envelope all the way. But I got to get back in here. I'll be listening in the back in the chat. But I got to get back in here in this office and get some work done.
Okay, because I want to say
I'll come back up later if you guys still on.
I pulled up the video and it said, well, I pulled up the video, but I'm trying to find an article. She did say she's LGBT.
Yeah.
She did say she
Do she have a red t-shirt on with white writing that says sex and then ed?
Right. I'm trying to find the video, but what I'm gathering is she's saying she wants to teach it, not that they are teaching it.
Yes, want to, but in some schools in California and Texas, they already teaching some parts of it, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, so that's why I said I just didn't know. So that's why I was trying to find out, because I just want to see, from my understanding, I just thought sex ed was taken out of schools, period.
If you can play that video with what exactly she's saying, y'all. She has a red t-shirt on and it has sex and then ed in parentheses, like sex education I think that's her. I think it's the same sister.
Well, I know this is the same woman, but I don't see the red t-shirt. I see other shirts and stuff. So I'm trying to find that one you mentioned with the red t-shirt. But I see all this LGBT pride stuff she's doing. So, and I hear what she talked about wanting that. But I was like, you can talk about wanting it all you want. It ain't gonna happen. If them white folks wouldn't let CRT, they ain't gonna let that in either.
Well, what my question is,
or if they did, they okay with it.
Why do the people have social problem?
Huh?
What's the problem?
What do you mean? Oh,
what's the problem with teaching? What's the problem with teaching the alphabet?
What's the problem with CRT? Shit, they don't want it.
We already went over that.
There's no. Okay, well, so I don't think there's nothing wrong with CRT. I wouldn't want but I don't think. I mean, can somebody tell me? Can you check if in fact they teach sex education in your school system? Period. We're not talking about any sex education. My belief is it was removed out of the school system because it was a funding thing. So it's a class because we used to do it when I remember we were doing, I think it might have been part of gym, and they did one class and they used to teach us how to check for the girls could check for breast cancer for lumps and the boys could check for testicular cancer. And that was pretty much about it. And everything else, I just don't think that I could be wrong. I don't recall.
Yes, the California Healthy Youth Act requires that students in grades 7 through 12 receive comprehensive sexual health education and HIV prevention education at least once in middle school and once in high school. This is
so
California.
One time, and it's health. Right, it's one time, and it's health sex education. So that's probably revolving around the breast cancer, the testicular cancer, and other stuff like that.
STDs.
Yeah. So I don't think it's LGBT in there. We're in there, right?
Well, I don't think that's the issue with the.
But it's in California, and that's what I'm just trying to make sure that because I don't know. I can't say that they're not, but I don't want to say they're doing something. We may be, again, like you said, like they took CRT out. It wasn't there. They could be taking out LGBT. It's not there. That's all.
Let's read what Miss She says. She says, sex education and gender identity are two different things. I don't think I ever learned of actual SEX intercourse in school,
we didn't either.
reproduction, and how
the system
works.
Yes,
right.
That's what I recall. Yeah. That's
right,
all I recall.
But but today you have to deal with the gender assignment type, gender identity situation.
I don't think you have to, because all you have to do if you're going to teach sex education is the biology of it, correct?
No, Rico. If a child goes to high school right now and says, "I identify as a female,"
right? I'm not talking about that.
No. But I'm saying that has to be addressed because it's going to come up there at the school.
But
so
it doesn't right. But what I'm saying is that addressing a student.
You're talking about it doesn't have to be in the curriculum. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Okay. I'm saying addressing a student's needs and a class on sex education, because I'm teaching sex education. I don't give a damn what you are or how you want to be, your pronouns or anything like that. That's separate from me teaching the reproductive, as Mrs. She said about how you check for girls. This is how you check for breast cancer. Boys, this is how you check for testicular cancer. These are the organs, because that's biology. That's yes, you have to teach that. And they never taught. They didn't tell you stick the penis in. No, they just taught you about.
Well, they definitely teach you how it happens, Rico. I mean,
no, they didn't teach us that in sex ed.
Yeah, no, they taught us.
They told you put your penis in and you make a baby.
No. They said this is where this goes. They didn't say.
Oh yeah, but they teach you the science of it.
And they magically come together at some point.
No, they teaching you the biology of it.
Exactly.
That's biology.
That's my point. Okay, so that's my
point. So that's a science thing. I get that. Right.
Okay.
But here's the thing is this. It works the same way with gay people, so you don't have to teach it differently. It works the same way.
There's a difference.
Sperm does the same thing.
I understand that. I understand that.
The science is still the same.
I understand that. But the purpose of sex, the major purpose of sex is reproduction, correct? That's why they call it reproduction.
Yes.
That's not the sole purpose. But I mean, another purpose is obviously recreational. But the main purpose, the original purpose of it is the reproduction, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, in the alphabet community, no disrespect.
Let me know what your so your 17-year-old answered, Mrs. She said that they don't teach that. Could you please let us know? Thank you. Somebody that's actually in high school, and please let me know the state, because that's what I don't want us to be, is irresponsible and say they're teaching something that they may not be. Because I know that all kinds of people are trying to push their agendas and push things in it, but I don't want to say that they're doing something.
Okay, listen to this, Rico. Is sex education being taught in public schools? As of October 1st, 2020, 30 states and the D.C. District of Columbia require public schools teach sex education, 28 of which mandate both sex education and HIV education. 39 states and the District of Columbia require students to receive instruction about HIV. Okay, so those are different topics. What we're talking about here is
let me. And the HIV is through sex or through intravenous needles and drug use.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay.
When you have a male-female situation, reproduction is on the table.
Okay.
That is something that you can teach. You can say, reproduction is on the table. Let me teach you about reproduction. When you have the alphabet community, reproduction is off the table. It's off the table. You don't have to teach reproduction over there.
Okay.
It's off the table. It's unnecessary to even teach that situation, right? So, in my opinion, I think a lot of people have a problem with it because
a problem with what?
A problem with the having to deal with the gender identity, which will bring you back to which will bring you into the behaviors of a person who has a gender identity issue. It will bring you into their non-conformist behaviors.
Okay, but my question is this: how is conflating the gender identity with sex education? They're two separate things.
But it's just like CRT, Rico. It's two separate things, right? This is a college course, and yet they're saying they're teaching it. We want to keep it out
because
of
they're not. That's the whole point. It's two separate
I know that's right.
People are in their minds conflating things.
That's what I'm telling you.
So what I'm saying is, you can be conflating. They could be teaching sex education, and people can conflate that they're teaching gender identity. And what I'm saying is, I don't think they are, but just simply because it's sex, they're conflating that. They're saying, oh, they're teaching this too. Because, of course, the twerking ass lesbian in Rhode Island wants them to teach that, but they're not teaching it. But, of course, all it takes is somebody to say they're teaching it or they want to teach it. And I'm pretty sure it's more than Rhode Island. I'm pretty sure it's in New York and other places where people want that to be a part. But it's like, this is education. This is what we're going to teach. And it's just easy to mix it all up is all I'm saying.
Right. But what I'm saying is you can fire more people up by making them think that.
And it may not even be happening.
It don't have to necessarily be a fire, Rico. You could just scream fire and the people will start running. That's
what I'm saying is, and it may not even be a fucking fire.
That's what I'm saying. They don't have to see the flames.
They don't
see the fire and they just run.
They hear fire and they just take off running.
Right, exactly. Right. So
we agree.
My point on what I was trying to say is that so why do so many parents have a problem with even because ultimately the fear is on the part of the issue of the gender identity, and then also the alphabet community, they call it agenda or whatever, their purpose and their teachings or their way of life. So that's what the most of they have a problem with, right? And all of this stuff conflated together. Oh, they're teaching sex education. Oh, they're teaching about drag queens and all that, whatever, right? They conflate it, like you said, because they conflate it all together, and they just say, "Oh, I don't want that happening." Mm-hmm. Okay, so but here's my biggest point of why do the parents don't want it to happen? Because there's the fear of the child being introduced to something that it's not going to be performative or bring a result along, and then maybe deviating from other different things that are not going to bring a result. In my opinion, that's why I don't know why they think that way, but I'm just saying. Okay, so because we've all been taught to understanding of tolerance, right? I may not agree with this person. I may not like this person, but I have to sit next to them in the classroom. I have to deal with them on the campus or whatever. But I don't like, well, I may not like this person, but oh well, I got to deal with it, right? Hold on. OG Patrice said, remember the lady that came up under the icon, Goddess Tulsa? She's transgender lady. Yeah, I figured that. So she may be listening now. Don't say anything. Well, Patrice, you could have said, you know what you should have said, Patrice? Hey, don't read this out loud, Clarence. All right, so no, but Patrice, we don't have no problem with transgender people. We just talking about the truth. So it's not even nothing. It's nothing against them. No. I'm trying to enunciate. I think why so many parents have an issue with the situation, and
let's just say openly, Goddess Tulsa, you are welcome to come back.
Yeah, anybody. Not only her, anybody else.
This is your house, like anybody else. As I've said before,
I mean,
I don't have to be a member of the community to be an ally of the community, because I'm respectful of all communities, as I demand that people are always respectful of my community.
Hey, as long as I don't care who they are, y'all can bring David Duke up here if he want to talk about the truth.
Now that one I don't know now. Now you went a little too far.
And we can talk about the truth. I mean, the truth is going.
Yeah, you went a little too far.
The truth is going to outlast any of these people.
But I ain't fucking with Dr. Duke. I'm sorry. Everybody else, but not Dr. Duke.
Well, that was an extreme example. But my point is, if anybody of any persuasion of thinking, if they're willing to be, respectful, and we can have an honest dialogue, I'm willing to talk to anybody, and I don't care what their gender assignment is or whatever you talking about. As long as you're willing to respect us, we're willing to respect you. So it's not a big deal, not a big thing. But shout out to Goddess Tulsa, appreciate you. Anyway, so like I said, the parents have an issue because of the alphabet community going against the grain as far as the replenishing their ranks, and that's another issue is replenishing their ranks, and so that process is a whole nother situation, and so they go so scared of that situation, right? And I think that's why they're able to turn all of this stuff into political footballs, right? Oh, we don't want this talk. We don't want this talk. But what it really boils down to, whatever you want to talk, whether you for the alphabet community or against it or whatever, or tolerant of whatever your stance is, you got to go. Like Patrice said, you got to be in the room. You got to be in the meeting.
Yeah.
If you're not at these meetings, how can you have an issue? It's
and
like
that's all I just want to know is I don't know if we should be taking and like I say it could be very, very true. I'm out here beating the bushes trying to see where sex education is still being taught and what are they teaching, before I go screaming and hooping and hollering about what I don't want them to do. Let me see what they're doing.
I'm sure they're teaching probably the mechanics of what's going on, right? The mechanics.
Well, if you're teaching the basic biology, like you said, yeah. Oh, okay, if a boy and a girl get together and sperm goes here, this is going to be the result.
Right.
That's biology. That's just basic biology. That's
right.
That as much as it's sex education, it's also fucking biology.
Right. But like I said, if they start adding stuff in there that maybe
it could still be biology.
But I'm saying if they start adding stuff in there that you don't want to be taught in your school district, instead of sitting around complaining about it, you got to go to exactly.
And then you speak up. And if you don't have a problem with it.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Because if you don't, then it's like people.
Or you can do like Sister Reese, you still remain the right to complain. Even though you didn't show up at that beating, Reese, you still get to complain.
That's black people. We will complain until. But as far as getting up out of our chair to go do something, it's difficult for us. And why? Because we got typically we running from job to job. We live in paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired. I've come off my second job. Coming home, if you pick the wrong woman, you come home, your stomach is growling, ain't no food on the table, you don't smell no chicken cooking, you ain't got nothing going on, you got some bad kids.
Clarence, let me tell you, okay, just type the Google search, what do schools teach in sex ed classes, right? And it says sex education programs funded by the state should provide medically accurate and factual information that is age appropriate and includes education on abstinence, contraception, and methods of disease prevention to prevent unintended pregnancies and STIs, including HIV.
Okay.
Right. That's generally sex ed.
Right.
Sex ed. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, so where's all this other stuff coming from? And
like I said, I think it's going to be conflated, Rico, to
exactly
politically. Right? Yes. It's political footballs.
Yeah,
right?
So it's like here, comprehensive sex eds cover a range of topics, human development, including reproduction, puberty, orientation, and gender identity. So they do that for human development. Relationships, including families, friendships, romantic relationships, and dating. Personal skills, communicating, negotiation, and decision making. So it's like, what is it that has everybody in such a tether about this? If I'm like, but again, like I said,
because Rico, I'm telling you, this is what the parents are dealing with. The parents are having an issue with stuff like this. Let's say you're teaching the sex ed, right? You teach the sex ed, and you got everybody in the classroom, and then, like you said, they're going through the dating and everything, and then guy stands up and says, "I identify as a," black dude stands up, says, "I identify as a white woman." Right? he says, I need some information on dating myself, right? so
go find your white man. I don't know.
So he says,
or another white woman, if that's what you prefer. I don't know.
So he says, he asks a question, and so just like the other people are getting their questions answered, hey, this is how you would do something like this. Be careful in this situation. See, the teacher might not be equipped to teach or respond to that type of question because they may not be in the alphabet community, right? So how does that work? And is a student getting deprived of the education because they're being taught by a non-alphabet community person who can't answer their questions?
What do you mean?
Should
Right,
the school district at fault for that?
They can be.
So now, whenever we teach sex education, we got to have a non-alphabet person and an alphabet person in the classroom.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know. You're right. That's a good question, because if you think about it, right? Think about it this way. Let's take the alphabet community out of it for a moment.
Okay.
Think about where years before. And I don't know. What's crazy is you got some people today, even in our community, that still want our kids to be taught a whitewashed education. Christopher Columbus found America. The founding fathers just said da. But then remember, we had generations where we said, "Hey, look, we want some of this education to be taught with an Afrocentric, an inclusion of African history and Hispanic history and Native American history." So we became more inclusive by race, and even women wanted more women's studies. Remember that? Because remember, education didn't teach. They ain't fuck the blacks, fuck the natives, fuck the Mexicans, fuck the women. Everything was white men. That's what our education system evolved from. So obviously, yes, it was naturally that at some point that orientation was going to get introduced into the education system as well, because we introduced the sex, we introduced all of it is the man, Mrs. She said. Remember, it started white man, okay? So that's the premise of it. It started the white man, and it still predominantly is. But it started with, like I said, we wanted the inclusion of different races. We wanted the inclusion of different sexes. So you have all these different studies that come in now, and so it, unfortunately, orientation is naturally to be the next. I don't know what else we can introduce after that. I'm sure they'll come up with something else. Maybe it'll be animal studies or some shit. I don't know. Bestiality or some shit. Who knows? Aliens. If aliens visited us, we'd have to study their shit next too. But the fact of the matter is, again, like I said, it's not like only orientation jumped in and all. There were other things that came into it. I'm not saying I'm for it. I'm certainly not for it at the grade school level, and probably not even the middle school. By high school, you can't tell them little shits anything anyway. Right. Once they hit high school, they think they know everything and they're grown anyway. So at that point, I have no problem with teaching any of it at high school. But you got some people who will fight against it at the high school level. I love my religious folks, but y'all get real tight about just, stuff being taught even at the high school and college level. Y'all get real tight. So I'm just saying that too. And some people, like I said, got a problem with religious studies being taught.
Yeah.
If you're an atheist,
yeah,
you don't want that,
or
you don't want that being
whatever.
taught.
Yeah,
but we still overlook a lot of religion that still creeps up in everything school related.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And guess what? Those non-religious parents, they got to swallow that. They got to swallow that. They got fucking prayer at everything. If you don't believe, too bad. You and your kids just got to swallow that. And you just do. So I'm just wondering, like, okay, well, how hurt are we going to be? And I don't know, maybe it is, but hell, I couldn't influence my kids and they live with me. But I want to believe, but a teacher can make them go gay. I mean, that's kind of a stretch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. But you know, man,
I'm feeding them, I'm sheltering them, I'm doing everything, and I can't influence them to do shit. But so sometimes when I hear people say that, and I'm like, look, if little Billy came home wearing a dress, little Billy liked wearing dresses. He just needed that approval. Okay. Okay. Because my son ain't gonna tell me, but Daddy, I went to school straight and now no, you wanted to. And you know, that that's just a leap for me to believe. I just have a hard time believing that. I'm not saying, especially at the high school level, at elementary and middle school. Yeah, I'll be out there with that. But anything younger than that, I'm like, nah. Oh God, damn! Wow.
What?
The story you just put up.
See that.
I ain't. Well, I see it. We all saw it, I think. I was happy.
We're gonna do that. That's your good
right.
back.
So, Marcus, you don't mind at high school. That's what I'm talking about. At high school is high school. Come on. You know, but middle school, I'm with y'all.
Yeah. We're not talking about high school. We're not talking about high school. Let me get the Taipan. Let me get Taipan. Alias Doberman, alias Rorschach. Many women in our community have bought into the extreme feminist indoctrination. They openly champion anything but normal, no children, solo parenting, alternative orientation, etc. Nuts. Man. Okay. Doberman. Taipan.
The link's out there. Hit the link.
The link out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Any of you guys want to come up here and just share your opinion about what you think about the school system, what it should be teaching.
Come up here and explain to me what normal is. I want to know what's normal.
That's another thing I was thinking about that we need to do. We need to do a show on what normal is, Rico. What is normal?
I know y'all call this abnormal, but there's a whole lot of shit out there. What's normal?
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So Rico, what is normal? And now I think
it's
what's normal is
singular definition.
So what I think normal is the how the school system.
Okay, thank you. But look, put Miss She Said comment up. They said because she got the information directly from her 17-year-old and other high schoolers. This is what they said to teach. Never any specifics on sexual intercourse, only the basics of reproductive system, how it works, small segment. And that's all I'm just saying.
I just froze, man. I'm froze up.
Huh?
I think I'm frozen, man. My screen is frozen.
You're not frozen to me.
I'm not frozen to you? Okay, I can still move. Okay. All right, I'm frozen on my screen.
This is what I'm thinking it really is. But of course, all the other stuff. Now, I mean, they're gonna talk about whatever else they want to talk about. They in high school, and like like Miss She said right. They say when you want to know about that other stuff, they say we get that from porn. Right. So you worry about the high school, but you done gave them the latest iPhone and laptop.
We don't want them to get it from porn, though. That's the thing. We don't want them to
get it from porn.
I know, but we don't want them to get it from porn.
Well,
we want the porn is the
genie's out the bottle. And when you go on the porn site, they got all that too on there. So I would rather a teacher talk to them about it in a clean, sterilized, generic fashion than from them to get it from porn. Because from porn, they're going to get the most degrading, disgusting way it is possible.
Well, they're going to get a fantastic version.
But Miss She said it perfectly. But that's what I'm trying to tell you what these high schoolers' minds is. It's like, I just don't think, of course, I don't want my tax dollars paying for them teaching it. But I'm like, we getting butthurt about one thing when something else is tearing our ass up. Porn, the freedom, the things that most of us, good luck with telling a 15 or 14 or 15-year-old they can't be on Snapchat and sexting and everything else under the sun. Good luck with that. Good luck. You got to kill him. You're going to have to kill him. Good luck with that.
Well, Rico, so, sometimes.
So if Billy do come back wearing a dress, he didn't learn it at school. He might have learned it online. He might have learned it online.
Learn what?
How to wear dresses and lipstick. He didn't learn it at
Yeah,
school.
man. I've seen videos. Rico, I seen a video one time, man. I was looking for something, and I just happened to cut across this beautiful young lady, right? And I said, "Wow, you know, man, that's actually a pretty young sister." And so I as I'm going down, I looked at the title, and it said, "Getting your voice," and I said, "What, this sister might have a deep voice. What's going on?" And so I clicked on the video, and it was actually a dude who had transitioned to the physical appearance of a woman,
and all the makeup and all that. You be like, yeah.
Yeah. But it was but what he or she was teaching, let's say she was teaching was how to change your voice from masculine to feminine. If you're being a trans man, you you have your voice get it softer.
Clarence, let me tell you something. Some of the biggest TikTokers and YouTubers in the country are people of that community with multi-millions of followers, 10, 20 million followers. Okay?
Yeah, I know, Rico.
And they're a TikToker, and they're dropping videos every day. And guess what? Somebody watching their ass.
Agreed, Rico. I'm just saying.
But that teacher,
that's a lot of videos.
Be lucky to get 20 asses in a seat. But this TikToker got 10 million.
Right.
I'm like, come on, guys.
But here's the thing. They're more interesting, right? That type of person is more interesting because they're quote unquote not normal, Rico.
And the magic word is they are what? An influencer. That sex ed teacher ain't influencing nobody. That TikTok.
You never know, bro. You never know.
That sex ed teacher who can barely get 20 asses in seats for a class. And when I was taking sex ed, they turned the light out to show a film.
Right. Well, what did you think when they first said to you they're gonna teach you sex ed? What did you thought? Right? You were like Beavis and Butthead. Oh, they're gonna teach us how to score. Cool.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna see like some more. I'm waiting to see the more National Geographic, some tits and boobs and stuff like that. I thought we were gonna say, oh shit, yeah.
We gonna see how they get down, how they do it, right? You go into the class.
It was boring as hell.
The penis must be erect.
It was
the juices must be flowing in the vagina.
The most boring
range of the sperm.
The most boring class in the world.
Right.
But you had to take it. You had to take it to get a passing grade so they could say they taught you.
The sperm has fertilized the egg.
The only thing I remember.
The sperm die.
The only thing I ever remember was them telling the girls how to rub the boobs, feeling for a lump, and telling the boys how to rub your testes.
We didn't even get that.
That's it.
We didn't even get that. It was like, hey, this is how it goes. Have at it, kids.
They were like, you're not supposed to feel no bumps. If you feel a bump, go see the doctor.
Yeah, no. We had a doctor that was doing that. They sent us all to the doctor to do that.
Yeah, because that's called a self-exam.
Yeah. But I'm saying they didn't even do that for us. They didn't even do that. When I was going to school, they didn't even do that.
But that's all I'm saying. And again, like I said, is like you said, the young lady that you talked about, they have a lot of TikTokers who have huge results. Oh, brother C got that. He got that feminine voice, Risa.
No, man. You don't even talk about.
Rico, let me show you how to do it.
She's talking about the film strip. Remember the film, the sex ed film strip.
Yeah. Put up Rorschach chats. I can't see them completely. I want to see what Rorschach is saying.
Into the vagina. And
do Top Payne's
9 months later, mom, you're a mom. All right, man. Put which one up? Which one?
Rorschach's first one. I want to see. I'm trying to understand.
Okay, respectfully, Rico, Black men have the universal issue of not setting order for their communities, women and children, and then being surprised when they get the results they get.
Okay, go to the second one.
Okay, the
I ain't
second
saying I
one says,
agree with it, but
Rico. Once again, that's bad logic.
Okay.
The very reason why black people in particular are so besieged by both feminism, the LGBT community, etc., is because black men think things just happen. Black men need to set boundaries. Holy smokes. Rico, are you there? Taipan, you blew him out so bad, man. He can't even. His internet went out, man, with those with those questions. Okay, so let me address the feminism issue. The feminism issue is a major concern for us in the black community in particular, right? All of these issues are major, but shout out to Taipan.
So I'm not understand.
Wait. You was gone for a minute, Rico.
Yeah,
I don't know if you were talking.
So,
okay.
Go ahead, read it again.
Okay, Rico. Once with a T,
okay.
Again, that is bad logic. The very reason why black people in particular are so besieged by both feminism, the LGBT community, etc., is because black men think things just happen. Black men need to set boundaries.
But what is he saying? I think just happened. Roshan, you need to hit the link.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, hit the link.
You hit the link. I'm not understanding. I mean, I do sometimes.
Rorschach is working, man, so he might not be able to hit the link.
Yeah, or tell me what it is. That I'm thinking just happened. No, maybe he's saying that I'm thinking when I was saying where the influence comes from, is it the TikTokers or in the schools? And I'm just saying is I do believe in probably for the last 10 years, I think kids are learning more from these online influences than they are from almost anywhere else. And if anybody want to disagree with that, I'm definitely I mean, you could take sex ed completely out of the schools. The genie's out the bottle. It's called the internet.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. They could completely delete all sex ed. The genie's out the bottle. We don't even need sex ed anymore. You can get those classes online, be more informed, better taught than you could by anything in school. But then you're going to get even more than that because the genie's out the bottle. And we got to stop acting like, well, if we just change schools, nothing else is going to go wrong. I'm like, are y'all crazy? Where the hell do y'all live?
Well, I think, Rico, if you...
The rampant drug use and everything else, I'm like, you think they teaching drug use in school? They're not teaching drug use in school, but them kids are sitting there getting all that stuff offline.
Yeah, but
that's an overall thing. They're getting all the roofies, all the Molly, all that stuff. They're doing a lot of it online. The police will tell you that over the internet. The police will tell you about that. It's over. It's in the music. It's in all that stuff. That's not coming from school. So we can completely take sex ed out of school. All that alphabet community and everything else, they still got access to it. So unless you're going to sit there and tell your teenager or even your middle schooler, no internet. So that's the boundary you were talking about setting, Rorschach? You're going to tell your 12, 13-year-old they can't get on the internet, no cell phone, no nothing? Because that's the boundary you better set. But if they got access to that devil box, the genie's out the bottle.
Genie's definitely out the bottle.
Do you disagree with that? Oh, there you go. The Arab man is that. Right. So again, like I said, he's okay. I get with that. So again, we gotta raise our kids like the Arab man. No TikTok. Sir, I agree with that. I'm not doing that, but I agree with that. All I'm saying is the influence of the TikTok and the media. The teacher is so far down the chain from what's influencing these kids today, it's not even funny, is what I'm saying. The education system is the least. First of all, we're in last place. So you know we ain't learning fucking nothing in school.
We're in 25th place, Rico.
Okay. So I'm talking about black kids.
Oh, yeah, they in last. Yeah, last
place. What the hell are we learning in school? Nothing.
Last place.
Barely. Oh, but here's the thing, right? We can't learn math, science, and English, but we're going to learn all that sex education. I'm just saying it's not coming from school is all I'm arguing. I'm saying the negative influence that we're having to combat, the least place that is comfortable. But you know what? The school is the easy thing to point to. You started out to scream with that, Clarence. Oh, I don't like the school. I'm going to blame the principal. I'm going to blame the school. I'm going to blame this. I'm going to blame that. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It's your ass. It's you and your parents. But you're going to blame everybody but y'all. And what I'm saying is, if in fact that is the case, because if the sex ed teacher could influence you so much, why can't the math teacher influence you to do them numbers? Why the English teacher can't influence you to get them reading scores up? Oh, they don't have no influence over you because you ain't doing the homework, you failing at the test, you falling asleep, you cutting the class. So I'm pretty damn sure you're doing the same thing in sex ed. That's all I'm saying. It got to make sense. If you're not listening to all the other topics, then you ain't listening to that one either.
Okay, Rico. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what's going to happen. That will be the one thing that black children learn. In fact,
you're not making any sense now.
Highly resonates with our women in particular. Over
the kid go to school. The kid got 7 classes. The only fucking class he's gonna pay attention to is sex ed. Come on, now you are being totally I'm telling you, they ain't paying attention to none of them.
But why? Because that's another question, and that's another thing we got to answer. Right. Why are black students at the bottom and holding the bottom for the last almost 50 years?
40 years, right? 40, 50 years, exactly. In everything. Right. You did, Clarence, you did math scores, you did science scores, you did reading scores.
Yes.
They don't even give you a fucking test in sex ed, but I bet you if they give you a test, we'd be in last place there too. We'd be last place there too, right?
We'll definitely be last on the list of discipline.
We'd be last place there too.
Definitely be last.
But the bottom line is they don't even give you scores or a test for that. That's just a class you sit in and listen.
Okay.
So all I'm saying is, if we're in last place in all those, we're in last place in that too. They're not. Oh shit. I don't like English science. Oh, sex ed. Let me sit up and pay attention now. No, that's not the way it works, Rorschach. It don't work that way, Rorschach.
All right, Rico.
Yep.
All right, so let me let's do this. There's certain things you need to know. Okay, we can talk about it as men because we're men. Let's just talk about it from a man's perspective. There's certain things you need to know out here in the world to function as a man, right? And certain things you're gonna have to have. And some of us have found out the hard way. Some of us have found out not so hard way. We've been lucky. We listened to some older black men that has told us.
Some of us just don't find out at all.
Right, and we just get slapped around by the world, right?
They stupid forever.
But there's certain things such as character, discipline, hard work. What do they call that? Work ethic, hard work ethic. There's certain things that we have to have as men that will cover us in times where we maybe not be so successful, but at least we have these things, these character issues that will help us carry us over because we're willing to work as hard as we have to make certain things happen, right? Why aren't those things being taught in the school system?
What do you mean, like character and ethics?
Yeah, character, work ethic, also discipline. Why aren't those things stressed?
Because
let me show you what's stressed in the school system. The school system is not like homeschooling. Like public school is a what I want to say is a reward system. It's a reward system. So you do the work, you get a reward. You do the work, you get a reward. You do the work, you get a reward. Now, that system works if the person values the reward, right? If the person that's doing the work values the reward at the end, then that will work. But if they don't value the reward, if the reward has no value, personal value for them, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Both of us are in science class. You get an A on the test, I get a C on the test. I'm just as happy as you with that A as with my C, right? Because that A don't really matter to me as much as that A matters to you. So I'm only going to shoot for what I needed for the C, right? And so that reward system is only going to work if I desire the A like you desire the A. Then I will work as hard as I can to get that A. You follow what I'm saying? But in a situation like,
but I can just shorten it. That everything that you're saying, which is good and valuable, that has to be that's supposed to be taught at home. That's not for the schools. That's not what the school system should be burdened with, teaching you ethics and discipline and things like that. Those are all 100% the domain of the home, and we just do a poor job of it.
Yeah, but what if your home doesn't have those things in your home?
Sucks to be you. I get that. I mean, I'm saying I get that. I know that there's a difference, and you got to pray to God that you get that self-discipline, because it's. I mean, damn, the teachers in the school got enough to do. They got to teach.
Yeah. No. I'm not saying that they're supposed to teach this stuff. I'm saying that's what should be. It should be encompassed in part of the. It would be better, rather, I should say.
It would be better. I don't think
it would be better.
Right.
But that's what they wanted. That's another advantage of homeschooling, whereas you can make the reward. You know your child well enough to know what is important to them, and you can reward their hard work with what's important to them, as opposed to a letter and the alphabet that they may not see as important.
It won't happen because we won't fund it. Hell, we don't want to fund it. We don't want to fund it at the basics that we do now. We underfund education, period.
Right.
We would have, we're underfunded by probably 20-25% just to be where we should be. And then that's even on top of it.
Right.
These tight motherfuckers ain't going to give up no money for that. They don't
but
care.
It's there. The money's there, Rico.
I didn't say the money wasn't there. I said they ain't giving it up.
I know. I hear you. I'm just saying. It's not an issue of having the money. The issue is directing it to where it would help the American people more. Right.
You know what it is? They'll take that money and they'll just keep warehousing your dumb asses. They'll keep locking you up and building more prisons. They don't care.
That's all it is. That's another issue.
You get it together yourself, or we just lock your ass up.
That's another issue.
That's the evidence. That's the evidence that feeds into the staff that we see time and time again. They're not going to fund preventive programs. They'll fund reactionary programs. More prisons. Maybe they don't fund drug treatment. There are a lot of preventative things that could lessen society's ills. No, we just rather fix it with jails. More.
Yeah, right. Well, everybody's gonna make money. The people who need to make money,
and we'll make money off of that. Yeah, we'll make money off of that. So
that's right. So and they already they have studies, Rico, for 20 years ahead. So they already know based on birth rates. They have studies.
What is it called? The school to prison pipeline.
Yeah.
And we fill it.
Right. And so
I ain't about to cut that out. Are you crazy?
Right. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Cells up. What you talking about? We got to fill these jail cells up.
Exactly.
We need
private prisons are a billion-dollar industry, man. Private prisons are a billion-dollar industry.
And we got to do this and we got to do that. And those private prisons is making money. Hell no, don't put it in to preventive care. Keep filling up my jail cells.
Right. You know how much it costs to house one prisoner in the state of California? I think it's between $55,000 and $60-something thousand a year. Yeah.
For somebody that's not contributing $1 to society.
And they're making 20 cents an hour, right? 20 or 30 cents an hour or $1 an hour or something like that, right?
The hell with what they're making, they're not contributing nothing to society.
Well, they contribute because they make license plates and they answer
They ain't
they do
contributing.
sales calls and stuff. They
They're
do
doing
stuff.
they're doing that shit for private industry.
That's what I'm saying, Rico.
So
They
they ain't
are doing
contributing to
something.
society.
They are doing something. And
They're contributing to some corporation's bottom line, but to society, our tax dollars is funding an employee for a private corporation.
Exactly. That's what this
So the
is what
private
I'm saying, Rico.
corporation is taking my tax money for housing this worthless SOB and then taking his labor.
Right.
So now I gave you free housing, boy. Shut up. Now I'm gonna take your labor
to
further fund my other private corporation. I'm Rico. I got the prison and I got the license plate company. I'm getting money off of Clarence black ass coming and going.
Wait a minute, hold on.
And I don't want you ever to get out of here.
And I'm getting a tax break because I'm helping a prisoner. So I'm getting tax breaks for doing that too.
So by that logic, do you think I ever want your black ass to get out of jail? Hell no. And if you do, I'm telling them, Clarence's son got a bag of weed. Go get that motherfucker. We're gonna make this a family affair. We're gonna make this a family affair. And we're gonna get the grandbaby too.
Right.
That's what they want to do. So come on. So why would I put money into breaking the cycle or preventing them from doing what you do?
This is very important, Rico. This is very important. What I'm about to say is very important. Okay, so like we said, like you were saying, the prison pipeline, that is the main artery of the prison pipeline is the public school system. It's the public school system, right? So what we want to do is we're trying to give you kind of some solutions to avoid this for those that want them. For those that want to listen, there's some ways. And parental involvement is one of the main ones. Now, everybody can't homeschool. And everybody can't homeschool, right? Because we got jobs, we got things, and things we got to do. So if you can't homeschool, that homeschooling will probably be the best option because you could take as much time as you want with your child. But if you can't do that, right, because you got to work, you got to pay the bills, right? If you do have to send them out to the public school system, whatever they're being taught, you're going to have to supplement that with some supplemental information, such as how to determine character in another person, how to build your own character, discipline, self-discipline, right? A lot of these children have problems with self-discipline. Why? Because a lot of the cartoons they watch and a lot of the television shows they watch, discipline is not hardly taught. It's not hardly taught discipline. You know what I mean? So therefore, I think we had more discipline back in my day because the cartoon characters and even the superheroes, if you read the comic books, they had discipline, right? Even though they didn't want to go and save the lady tied to the train tracks, they had the discipline to go do it anyway, even though they was going to miss out on the fun time or the date or with the girl or whatever. They were going to miss out on all that, but they had the discipline to go say, hey, this is what I have to do. This is my duty. Another thing, teaching duty. See, we don't teach duty, so we don't. So when a lot of our children see duty, they run. When they see responsibility, they run, right? Because they don't recognize duty and responsibility as pathways to manhood. They don't see it that way. They see duty and responsibility as a burden, right? They see it as a burden that they don't want no part of, right? So I understand all of that, but I'm saying we gotta supplement what we're teaching our children as they come out of these public school systems. So Rico, I want you to finish up with that. I didn't get a chance to get to the hidden curriculum. That was such a good video, but we have to get to that another time because we got to do this good black news. So Rico, what's your final thoughts on the whole school system and how to deal with it and everything?
I mean, I think, like I said, we've known for a while. This and I'm with you. I'm 1,000%. I think homeschool is the number one alternative. Parental involvement, whether you homeschool or public school education, because you can be successful through public school. But I tell people, if you're not ready to have kids, don't have kids. The concept of, I think,
or a wife.
And Yeah. And even my dumb ass when I was young and had my first kid, that this whole concept, people, you fall in love with the fairy tale notion. And I mean, that's all true. And it's a good feeling. As a man or a woman, you want to have a child, you want to leave a legacy and so forth. But I don't think people think about schooling at all. I know I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. Me and my wife at that time, we think about having a baby. I'm not thinking about no schooling, and especially with it's just like, and we don't. We really got to start talking to each other, and that should be, that's got to be a huge part of the conversation. So I would say to any young couple before, I'm like, at some point that baby gonna have to get an education, and I think they just think it's just gonna work itself out or take care of itself. And it's getting harder and it's getting worse. It's getting harder than when it was for us. So, I think homeschooling is great, but you got to make sure that you have the wherewithal and the ability to do it. First of all, if you ain't married, don't be thinking about homeschooling because, hell, you probably won't have a support system there to even. You better hope you're going to have a baby daddy there that's going to be supportive of you, much less talking about homeschooling. So I think that's huge. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful. That would be my first choice. But if you can't and you're not in that situation, you must be involved. So even when I say, when you think about having a kid, you got to know the lift that it's going to take. You have got to get involved with your children and your children in school. If you just got your ass up there regularly, often, your kids know you're involved. And a lot of kids do poorly in school because they know they come from homes where people don't care. They come from a household where nobody in the house cares about school. They ain't going to go up there and check. They don't care. They're not getting any support. The parents don't want to go. So why, these are reinforcing messages. And that's the worst type of child to try to parent, is one that's not interested in school. Because if he's not interested in school, he's going to become interested in something else. And it's usually going to be the worst damn thing for him to be interested in them streets and everything else. So unless that kid's interested in school, sports, athletics, or something like that, you can probably keep him on the straight and narrow. But if he ain't involved in school, them streets got his ass. They gonna own him. And then, that's a hard road to hoe. So again, I'd say that's the number one overall. Homeschool if you can, even though I'm too stupid to homeschool. But if you can do it, if you can and you can afford to, if you can't, stay involved, get involved in your community, get involved in your local school from the grade school. And then, with the public school, do the additional stuff, keep them in math camps. And there's a lot of free camps, the free camps at the church and things like that. Everything free you can get, through the local government, the churches, the community. If you still in living with those communities, that still got a community rec, have his ass at that community rec every day of the week. If that rec, I would volunteer at the rec. I'll open it up to make sure that you still get to go to the rec for whatever it is they're doing there, because it just keeps them out of trouble and so on and so forth. So that's what I push. And like I said, it's bleak we had a lot of success stories though. I'm happy about that. So even though
I'm about to get into one, Rico.
So that's all I got, but go ahead.
All right. So and any one of y'all in the chat, any one of y'all, man, y'all can put in the comments y'all suggestions about I know Sister Enya, you do that homeschooling, and that's great. I mean, any suggestions y'all got for people that might see this on a replay, y'all can put it in the comments, man.
And Sister Enya, if you got any, because I know like some homeschoolers, they do like networks, or websites or links that you're aware of. If you could drop that in the chat too, that'll be helpful too, so that people can read up. Like I know they got don't they have like a national homeschool network?
I'm sure they do.
If you're aware of any information that you can bring to our attention by you doing it, that would be a big help. So maybe wherever, any of our subscribers are, they can look and see and say, oh, shoot, I didn't know. I'm sure they got a Maryland homeschool network, of Virginia.
Right.
They got one in California. They got them in probably every state in the country. But for somebody that's thinking about it, it might help if they just know the resources. Since I know
Right.
you're big in that community.
Yeah.
If you got
Step
anything
1,
you can
step
drop-
2, step 3.
Yeah. All right.
All right, y'all. So
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
that's right. She have a
Drop the
blog.
blog.
Well, put your blog in there. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think you have a
please.
wrench. You can put your blog out there. Go ahead, put it out there. And
Please.
every time you come over, just put your blog out there. So because people come over here, what we want to do, Rico, Inya, what we want to do is we want to change people, give people the opportunity, more information on how to change their life and make it better. That's what we are. But this is talking about how to make your Black life better in particular, but everybody, whoever, I don't care, you don't have to be Black, but that's our focus because that's the situation is so dire in that area. But whoever, if we got information that can help people, let's help them, right? So put your blog out there so that we can get started on that. All right, so Rico.
Yep.
Black students are last place everything, man. They just
not all of them.
Everything.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Are you sure? Wait a minute, man. That's what the paperwork said. The paperwork say we all bad. Well, Rico, let's look at some good Black news. Let's do some. Can we do some good Black news, Rico?
Yes, please.
Can we do some good Black news? Okay, let's do it because man, when we all know that when the news comes on and we hear about a horrific event, the first thing Black people say is, "I hope it ain't a brother. Hope it ain't a brother."
Now today, yes,
dang,
yes,
it's him, dog. Leroy, what you do that for? All right, so we always think it. So now I want to flip it on his head and say, hey, let's talk about some good Black news. 13-year-old Alina Wicker becomes the youngest Black person to be accepted into medical school. What do you think about that, Rico?
13.
13 years old.
13.
13 years old.
Ain't no telling what my little Lord, I don't even think about I was doing at 13. But I wouldn't think about no medical school. But that means this young lady.
I don't think you were trying to figure out how to get into medical school.
That means this young lady has already, I'm assuming, has already finished high school and college.
Yes. It's already
at 13.
At 13.
At 13. She's already got an undergrad degree from some university at 13.
At 13 years old. All right.
Continue on.
Okay. 12 News reports that Alina Wicker has been the youngest Black person to be accepted into medical school, inspiring the next generation. After completing 2.5 years of college at Arizona State, that ain't no slouch, right? University and Oakwood University, the 13-year-old is on her way to attending the University of Alabama at Birmingham Hearst School of Medicine, aiming to be a doctor by 18. Holy smokes. At 18, I couldn't even tie my shoes straight. I really want to leave my mark on the world and lead a group of girls that know what they can do, Wicker said, according to the outlet. Engineering to biology. I want to make my mark on the world, ASU student heading to medical school. Oh, this is her right here. Can we listen to her, Rico? Let's listen to what she has to say.
Start it. Go back.
Let's listen to the article here.
You got
let me bring it up.
Yeah, unmute the sound.
When she was just 12.
Can you hear that?
But now Alina Wicker has become a teenager, and at age 13.
Can you hear it?
She's just 13.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Her dreams are taking on a new direction. Team 12's Nyala Charles first brought you Alina's story about a year ago, and she caught up with her again to see how this teen continues to inspire.
Online, she goes by the Brown STEM Girl, an ode to her foundation of the same name that encourages girls of color to get into science and math. At 13 years old, Alina Wicker is making history.
Yes! So she has officially been accepted into the University of Alabama Hearst School of Medicine at 13 years old.
Learning she was accepted to medical school, the youngest Black person to ever do so.
I really want to leave my mark on the world and leave a group of girls that know what they can do.
We first interviewed Alina last year when she got accepted to Arizona State University's engineering program at 12 years old. After that, she quickly made national headlines with dreams of working for NASA.
I always dreamed of being an engineer because throughout my life, I liked building.
But in a year, things have changed.
you see behind her, Rico? What did you see behind her? You muted, Rico. You muted.
You talking about that library of books?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, from floor to ceiling.
Yes,
from floor to ceiling.
sir.
I bet she done read them all twice and then some.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, I know that.
Yes, sir. All right, I just wanted us to, because I know you be in your libations, man. And you may not pay attention to what's going on, Rico. You and Patrice sometimes, man, y'all ain't paying attention. Well, I'm paying attention, man. I see it right there.
Continue on.
All right.
It actually took one class in engineering for me to say this is kind of not where I wanted to go. Like,
she found a new passion in biology.
That class was amazing.
You did it.
She now wants to be Dr. Elena Wicker, MD, instead, hoping to become a viral immunologist, a doctor that studies viruses.
I think the viral immunology really came from my passion for volunteering and going out there engaging with the world.
She says she was inspired by a trip to Jordan and her efforts to get more girls of color interested in STEM as the brown STEM girl.
We can find cures for these viruses.
In just 1 year, Elena has already finished 2.5 years of college by taking a full course load at ASU and Oakwood University in Alabama. She attends class virtually from her home state of Texas, then flies in for her lab courses. She makes it sound easy.
It's really just keeping on top of your work.
Showing the next generation they can do anything.
I want to inspire the girls. I want them to see that there's no limits.
If everything goes as planned, Elena will be a doctor by the time she's 18. In Phoenix, Nyela Charles, 12 News.
What you think about that, sir?
Outstanding.
I mean,
ain't nothing I can add to it.
The little sister, man, she did 2 years of work in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man. So what's my point? My point is, our children can do this if we just focus and direct them in the right way. They can do this. They can do this. I know the test scores don't show that they can, but I think it's us not being more, if we get more involved, because it looks like her parents are very involved with her situation, right? They took her to Jordan. I mean, her parents are very involved with her, right? But however, at the same time, she's able to ask questions. You know, a lot of times in a black household, you ain't supposed to ask no questions. Mama, where's my daddy at? Shut up, boy! Don't ask me no questions. You just go take that trash out, like I said, right? We discourage our children from asking questions. Don't question me. Don't question me. And in the school system, it further reinforces that you don't ask questions, right? You just take what's put on the table, right? What's your favorite saying? Take the meat and spit out the bone, Rico. That's what they teach you, right?
That's it.
You know, that lady was talking about the hidden curriculums. Her thing is talking about the hidden things that public school teaches, and another thing they teach, and she was saying that they teach confusion, where they teach that confusion is order. The order is confusion, right? When the bell rings, all this chaos starts happening, right? All these people moving all around, right? So you see that. You see that on the subways. You see that in the train stations, and where mass transit, where you just see this chaos where everybody's moving all these different directions, and that is what we was talking about, Rico, earlier. Normal. They teach you that this chaos is normal, right? This is the normal. But in your life don't have to be chaotic. Your life can be really focused and from an early situation. So shout out to the young sister. What's her name? Elena Wicker. Shout out to her and her family, man. Yeah, it's a beautiful story. Vaughn, I thought I'd give you some good black news. Some good black news. All right, Rico, let's start wrapping this thing up, man. Let's start getting into some last remarks here. Oh, where's my last remarks at? Stuff here, man. Oh, here we go. Let's start wrapping it up, brother. What do you think?
I think it was good. I think that last story was out of the park. Glad to see that. Always happy to see that. Like you said, it's obviously, parental involvement, the very thing that I was just.
Rico. 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 Rico, you went out, man. All right, so let me pick up where Rico was talking about. I thought the last story was pretty good. Rico, you went out.
I know that we got
back?
a storm
Okay.
going. Yeah, we got a storm
Oh,
going
you got a storm
here.
out there.
So that's why I think it's messing with the internet. But no, I just think that she's a product of parental involvement. Hopefully, I think they saw in their child at an early age she was smart and she was gifted, and rather than leave her to herself, they probably threw themselves in behind her, and probably oftentimes like Patrice said earlier, a lot of times you can see I've seen so many gifted children not fulfill their promise because the lack of support. So I'm glad to see, and she could have been one too. If she ended up with the wrong parents, what we saw today wouldn't be happening. But thank God she ended up with some good, solid parents. They sort of promised their daughter, and they threw everything behind her to make her successful, and she is wildly successful. And I'm wildly happy and excited for her.
You know, it's a good story about that exact situation.
Mm-hmm.
What's the sister that did the gymnastics, Simone Biles?
Mm-hmm.
That is a good situation. I'm talking about, man, where her natural situation was really in a really bad situation.
But it was thankfully to her grandparents who adopted her.
Yeah,
and
man. The people that pulled her out of that situation.
I think her brother just beat a murder charge.
Okay.
Her birth brother, I think back in somewhere in Ohio, Cleveland, whatever, got caught up. Somebody got killed.
Yeah.
He was charged, and then I think he might have got out of it. But yeah, you're right. She was just wildly talented, gifted.
And they put her in the right support, put her with the right support system, and she took off like an airplane, man. So
too many don't get that. So
well, okay, brother, what you think about the stream, man? What do you think?
I think it was good. I think it was good that at least we put out some information about how the school system works, how people can get involved in it if they care to be involved. If you care to be involved, this is, that school system is yours. So I say to our community, when you send your kids to school, that's your school system too. So again, the same way Karen can get butt hurt and up and decide, okay, I'm gonna get my girlfriends and we're gonna go shut down CRT and all this other blackity black stuff. You can get butt hurt too, and you can go and you can, if you want to shut down the alphabet community, if you think that that's a problem, I would say check and make sure it is before you shut down something that ain't there. Or if you want to get something inserted, you can do that too. Or how about just go to a meeting and find out what the hell they talking about, so you know what your kids are being taught. They do it even if it's something like, hey, the playground needs to be updated. Why can't we get this? Why can't we get that? Things like that. You just got to get involved. And if people are doing things for the school that you don't like, get a group together and vote their asses out.
Yeah.
Most of those school board positions are voted on, and even the ones that are appointed, you can raise hell with the people who appoint them, who will then, the shit rolls downhill. But if you don't speak up and don't open your mouth and have a voice, then what? Sister Risa, you can still complain, but everybody else can't. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Can't nobody else complain but Sister Risa. You just got to get involved. So, but I'm glad to see, like in this situation, this young lady, and there are a lot of stories. There are hundreds of stories of young Black men and women all over America that's doing stuff like that. That's not in athletes, not in entertainment. That's into science, math. That young lady's gonna be, an astronaut. But they rarely go celebrate it. They rarely go celebrate it. You know, especially in our community. I can imagine probably outside her immediate family, nobody in the neighborhood care because she ain't playing no damn sports.
Right.
Or she ain't doing no. If she was doing sports or music, everybody would be singing her praises.
Yeah.
But if you're not an athlete or an entertainer, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I love my athletes. I love my entertainers. But I love young sisters like her too. That's what we get. She needs to be up on that echelon when we talk about the LeBron James and all the other and the Beyonce. We should be talking about that young lady, Elena Wicker, as well. Because see, LeBron James and Beyonce at 13 wasn't doing this shit.
Right.
See, now she's liable to go out and maybe create or invent something in medicine that'll help the Black community far larger than anything. Beyonce can just sing songs and make us feel good. She can come up with some medicine that can possibly actually fix us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She could probably come up with something, a cure for diabetes or some shit. Beyonce can only sing about it. LeBron can't do shit about it. But we celebrate those. So that's what I'm saying. I'm just messing with you, Risa. I know you're not. I'm just
no, he's not, Risa. Get him, Risa. He's not messing with you. Just get him, Risa. Get him.
I'm messing with you.
All right.
But yeah,
right,
but that's why I said we got to celebrate them too. So I think she's doing great, and I'm excited about it.
All right, brother. Do we need to talk? When we hold you, or are you good?
No, I gotta go up here and get cussed out by mama.
Oh man, we'll go ahead. Yeah. Bye. You ain't gonna blame me. It was Clarence. All right, brother.
What do you think?
Huh?
What do you think? Give me your thoughts
about the stream.
Yeah,
I think we gave out a lot of good information, brother. I mean, I think the numbers don't dictate that, but I mean, we definitely gave out a lot of information. I think anybody who is trying to decide whether they want to homeschool or public school, and they got either option on the table, I think they would look at this and say, you know what, I'm going to take if I want to put the most time into my child, I'm going to take the option that gives me the most option, which is actually the homeschooling, right? And I think we gave a lot of information for homeschooling. If you can homeschool, we gave a lot of information to how you can be more involved in what your children are actually learning. And then we ultimately gave you enough information where you could actually supplement what is actually being taught. So you ain't got time to even go to the meetings because you're going to all these you're going to 3 or 4 different jobs. Mm-hmm. Well, we even gave you some tips on how you could just supplement this, the school system by teaching some stuff on your own at home, right? So we gave a lot of different solutions for this situation here.
Hopefully people at least understand. Like I said, we did a little bit of the history of public education in the country, so now they'll have a better understanding.
We put some numbers out there.
Yeah,
we put some numbers out there. We put
so they know what the history.
We fact checked ourselves.
Right. What public education came from, what it was for, how it is formed, and even how it exists is structured today. That your kid's education, that's in your control. That's in your local control.
Yeah, you do got to say in that.
You ain't got to go all the way to. DC ain't got shit to do with what your kids is learning in Cali. In LA, that's run by the Los Angeles, what they call
LAUSD, LA Unified School District.
Right. They run that shit. Whatever them kids teach, they run that. That's at your local level. That's not, and they get a little bit of input from the county. What county is that? LA in?
LA County.
They get a little bit of input. They get a little input from LA County, and LA County get a little bit of input from the state.
Right.
So it'll come from the state to LA County, then it goes down to the LA Unified School District. But the vast majority of it, and them taking that core stuff that comes all the way down to the state, is at that level. And even then, you can show up and you can go and you can lend your voice. They have these school board meetings, and I'm pretty sure y'all's are probably voted on being so big. I'm pretty sure they ain't.
And now they do them through Zoom. You don't even have to go. You can do it through Zoom now.
So you can't exactly. Your ass ain't even gotta go. Yeah. But if you want to get on the list to speak, you can get on the list to speak.
Oh, right, exactly.
So that's all I'm sitting there saying. So get your group of Karens, go sit your ass down in there, and have your little flags and your little T-shirts and all that. When Karen was shitting on CRT, that's what she did.
Yeah.
That's what she did. And guess what? She affected changes, and they did it so bad in Florida and other places. They had them introduce laws.
Yeah.
They had them introduce laws from the government to say, from the state government, that they can't teach what they ain't teaching.
They was teaching in the first place.
You understand what I'm saying? That's what Karen did, because Karen got hurt about something they wasn't doing. That's what Karen did. And then so don't tell me it can't get done, because it can get done. They do it all the time. We just don't do it.
Yeah.
We just don't.
Yeah.
So that's
I think we gave a lot of good information, man. I think we gave a lot of good information. Good show. We got a lot of good information. You know, I was hoping that more people who had children was gonna step in there, but that's okay. We still gave a lot of good information.
Yeah,
And
it's out there.
you know,
It ain't going nowhere.
Sister Enya gave her blogs for, and she is really high on the homeschooling. And you know, if that's that you're interested in, go check that blog out. It's a very nice blog. I've seen it before. It's a very nice blog. So go over there and check it out, man. And you can get you some tips on you know, how to homeschool, and you know, where you should go. Step 1, step 2, step 3. All right, brother. I'm gonna pull you down, man. If you ain't got nothing else. Yeah. All right, brother. I will hit you up a little later.
Okay.
Peace. All right. That is Brother Rico, and that was his last words. Okay, y'all. Did I bring you back up, brother? What did I do? I must have. All right, let me put you down. Come on, y'all. Rico is once Rico is enough, right? We can't have too much Rico, right? Yes, we can. We go. I tease Rico all the time, but that's he's fast becoming my age boom, man. All right, so what do y'all think? Did we hit the points? I mean, we tried to give you guys a lot of good information about what you can do if you're having an issue with something that's being taught in your school district, right? Don't just sit and complain about it. Don't go on Facebook and complain about it. Get your behind in the classroom. Get your behind at the school board meeting. Get your behind. Vote. You got a person on the school board that's voting for something you don't want your children being taught. Vote their behinds right off the board. These people get to sit on these boards for all these years because Black people, we do not show up to the board meetings. We don't, and it's a shame. It's a shame how it really works like that. But we need to be showing up to these board meetings so that we can let these people know, man, we're not going for this, or we are going for that, or this is what we want. You go in there and tell them what you want. I don't know what you want in your school district, so you got to go tell them, right? What do y'all think? So, you know, I think we did a good job. I'm gonna leave it at that. You guys can see the numbers. You guys, when you go check out the show, you can see the numbers for yourself. So, you know, you can see I put the numbers out there. I went through stats. I gave you stats. We gave you the intellectual part of it. We gave you the philosophical part of it. So we gave you the abstract, right? Some of the subliminal stuff that's being taught, the confusion, the chaos, what's the new normal, your new normal, right? You teach your children. So when you indoctrinate, you indoctrinate the children of a particular culture or country. You have to indoctrinate them as children, so when they come into adulthood, they will not fight the system no more. There's an old saying: if you tie a baby elephant to a pole, and then when it gets to be a grown elephant, you change that chain to a string. Once it feels that tension, it won't even kick back. It won't even buck on that pole. Even though it could pull that pole right out of the ground, it's not even going to try to go against that because it's been trained already and conditioned to accept the situation, right? So that's what we got to do. We got to, you know, all children, but especially our children are we have a serious epidemic in the Black community as far as education and productivity. We have a serious gap there, right? We have a very serious gap there. And so it has a lot of different issues. We're talking about single motherhood, low parent involvement, poverty, a lot of different issues involved, right? High crime, we got a lot of different issues involved. But regardless to what's what, there is no fair. The only thing that's fair is a boxing match where the referee is in the ring. You know what I mean? Other than that, life is not fair. Life is not fair. So expecting everything to be fair is not going to be fair. We have to get involved as the parents and grandparents and just people who want to donate our time. We have to get more involved with our students. All right, y'all. Let's do the rundown. Let's do the rundown. The chat. Everybody in the chat. Solid performance. As always, solid performance. I tried to call out everybody that came in through the chat. If I missed you using the chat, shout out Marcus. I think I got you already, Marcus. But if I missed you in the chat, shout out to everybody in the chat, right? You guys always do a great performance and make sure that the chat stays clean. Appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean? We cannot do this without y'all. And us together make this show work. The chat plus the panel plus all of us working together, right? And so shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys, solid performance as always. Solid performance. And I love when I could say that you guys did a solid performance. Absolutely solid. All right, let me move on to the stage. On the stage today, we had Brother Rico and we had Patrice. Now, Patrice, you guys know, Patrice always does a solid performance. She always comes on solid performance as usual. She puts in when she can, and then sometimes she has to go, so she can only stay for a minute or two or this or that. But the thing one of the things I like about Patrice is Patrice come in. I don't care what topic you're talking about, she can give you a good take on it. You know what I'm saying? So she came in, but this is something that's close to her because as you know, Patrice used to read books to underprivileged kids, and she was reading books in that program till the program ran out of money. So she's hoping that their program will get back funded again, or Patrice, she might just work it out where she just do it anyway, whatever. So but what I like about Patrice is that she, no matter what we're talking about, she brings a good take to it. But shout out to Patrice. She came in, she dipped her toe in a little bit, and then she had to go when she got things to do. Busy lady, man, she got things to do. So we can't keep her all day. We wish we could, but we can't keep her all day. All right, so that was Patrice, OG Patrice. What you think about OG Patrice's performance? Solid as usual, man. If you guys ever see Patrice out there on the streets, man, just tell her thank you for what you do. Really, really, I mean, her and Rico, man, they're kind of the same. And I've seen these kind of people before. I have them in my family and stuff. They really are passionate people, man. They're really very passionate people. You know what I'm saying? But it could come off depending on how you look at it, it could come off like, oh, they're really aggressive. But they're just passionate. They're just passionate about the things that they care about. You know what I'm saying? So Patrice is very passionate about children and in our situation as Black people, because she recognized how dire it is. And so anyway, I'm glad that she's involved with us. If she worked with us, she could be doing all kind of other different stuff. But she really puts a lot of time into this show. She don't get no money from me. Rico don't get no money from me. These guys don't get no money from me, but they put a lot of time into trying to make sure that you guys, all of us, will get something out of the guests that they setting up, bringing on. You know who's bringing all these guests? That's Rico and Patrice bringing all these guests on. That's them putting that together. I haven't had it. I don't have to do hardly any of that, because they're the ones out there doing it, and the guests they get are awesome, right? So next time you see Patrice out there in the streets, man, just give her a virtual high five. Say thank you, sister. Appreciate you, because sister really cares about us, and we need to start giving people their roses while they're here, right, y'all? All right. But Patrice, solid performance, solid performance. Absolutely solid, as always. Glad to have her in the building. Glad to have all of y'all in the building. Everybody in the chat, everybody in the building, man. I think you guys can see that I'm so appreciative of everyone. I don't want to leave anybody out of the accolades that I need to give them. Shout out to everybody. But that's Patrice. Patrice came up for a minute, shot a shot, then came in and said, "Hey, Clarence, let me give you some info, bro." but I thought it was something I could read. Shout out, but I'll do better. I'll do better, Patrice. I'll do better. I gotta learn. See, I'm still learning. We all learning. I'm still learning. I got a bad habit of reading stuff that people put, in the back chat, try to make. Patrice will tell me, hey, she's the kind of person that will try to correct you. She see you going way off the rails. She'll try to put you back on the rails on the low. But see, I'm still learning how to do this thing where people tell you something on the low, and you got to kind of be like, oh, okay, you get it, and but you ain't out there putting it out there. All right, but anyway, that's Patrice. Solid performance as always. What about Rico? Rico came in. He said, "Yeah, this is gonna be a good time." Matter of fact, me and Rico was arguing with each other before this topic. We were arguing about all of this before we even came on. Before we even came on camera, man. Me and Rico took about an hour. We were arguing with each other about this situation. So I knew it was gonna be a good topic when we were arguing with each other. So, but shout out to Rico Young, man. What do y'all think? Solid performance, man. You guys see Rico out there, man. You know what I'm saying? If you see him when he's in his right mind, just give him a pat on the back, man. You're doing a good job over there. You know what I mean? Because you see the streams that he produced, that Patrice produced. They bring in some good people through, man. That's not me. That's them. That's them. And they ain't getting paid to do it. They ain't getting nothing out of it. You know what I'm saying? They don't have OG Patrice have a channel, but I think, in my opinion, her channel is to let you know the kind of a chop she got. Really, she ain't even out here pushing it. She should. I gotta start telling her to push her channel out here so she can get a lot of people to go over there. Because after you get done with the serious talk here, then you can meet another side of Patrice, which is her musical side. You can see over there, and she can lift your spirits over there with her music. Because she's a very talented lady. But let's talk about Brother Rico. Brother Rico came over, and like I said, we was arguing about this topic before we even came on the stage. We was on the phone. You know what I mean? Going. I said, I was telling him, okay, Rico, okay. I knew this was going to be a good topic, so let me go put the show together, Rico, and because I had to get the stats and everything together. So, but anyway, what y'all think about Brother Rico? Solid performance as always. You know what? One of the things I like about Rico, I mean, I learned a lot of stuff I like about Rico and Patrice and Vaughn, but one of the things I like about Rico is that just because we're friends, he doesn't let me escape by saying something that I can't. I don't have no receipt to prove it, right? He doesn't allow that to happen to me, right? He doesn't say, oh, well, since, we cool and we talk to you every day and everything like that. But if you say something, Clarence, I'm going to check you on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like that because the truth is what we about. We ain't about, a narrative. We're about the truth. You know what I'm saying? If the truth backs a narrative, okay, it backs a narrative, but we're about the truth. The truth is what we want pushed out here first. And secondly, we want to help people. We'll put some information out there that's going to help you. And so Rico is always trying to lead people in the right direction. You know what I mean? So, because we got these bumps on our head, man. We don't want y'all to get these bumps on y'all head, man. So we try to tell y'all, steer y'all around these bumps. Remember, we had a young man on here the other day, and we trying to tell that young man, hey, we try to tell him, even that young man, right? I remember when we were me and that young man were at odds. I mean, we were hostile at each other. But you know what? When I saw something coming his way that I thought was going to be a bad thing, I would go behind the lines and warn him, hey, brother, this is coming your way. You know what I'm saying? And he would respond, okay. Even though we were battling, we were fighting on the surface, we was battling. But behind the lines, he would say, okay, brother, got you. Right? Got you. Right? So my point in all of that is that, it depends on the support you got. You know what I'm saying? Depends on the support you got and for what you're doing. But getting back to Rico, solid performance as always. Solid performance. That's what I like about him. He doesn't let me skate. He doesn't let nobody skate. And he will say, hey, he holds the line up to all of us. And like most people will look at that and say, dang, yeah, that's being anal. But I look at it as it's keeping me right. It's keeping me right. Why would I want to be around a bunch of people that's going to let me play myself out here, right? I want somebody that's going to say, hey, Clint, nah, hold on. Because I'm going to do the same thing to him. Wait a minute, Rico. You know what I mean? So we can respect each other's when. So now I got so much respect for Rico. If he tell me something, I don't just say, oh, he's just a hater. I just say, maybe I said that wrong, or maybe I don't have the right information, or you know what I'm saying? His opinion is so valuable to me that I look at it like that. But everybody don't look at Rico like that, right? Everybody don't look at Rico like that, man. But I do, man. He's a good dude, man. If you ever get a really good chance to really get to know Rico, Rico's a really good dude. Same thing with Patrice, man. Really, really, really awesome lady, man. If you ever really get to know her, awesome lady. I didn't say they were perfect. None of us are, including myself. None of us are perfect, but man, these are some really awesome people. I see when I do this, man, I get to work with some really awesome people, man. So it's not even really work. It really becomes like just I'm hanging out with my friends and we just talking about stuff that we trying to help people. We got the same objective, so it's all good. It's all good. But shout out to Rico. Solid performance as always. Solid performance. Solid performance. Vaughn, you didn't get a chance to get up here, but Vaughn always has a solid performance too. Appreciate everybody that comes through, all of you guys that come through, everybody in the chat, everybody in the bushes, everybody that comes on the stage. We appreciate all of y'all. We appreciate all of y'all, man. Everybody, man, because like I said, we are a team. Me and Rico and Patrice might be the face of the organization, but we are all a team. We can't get this all done without everybody, right? Right? Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan, but Michael Jordan was nothing without the strength trainers and the jumping coaches and the movement coaches, the ball movement coaches, and the defensive coaches. And he wouldn't have been all of that without all of those people. Same thing with LeBron James. Without a nutritionist, without the right doctors, without the right people to stimulate his spirit to keep going. I mean, you got to have all that stuff going on, right? So you got to have a team of people, and we are all the team. We are the team. Let's talk to Better Black Life, not Clarence and the Talk to Better Black Life. This is Let's Talk to Better Black Life, where we as a team come together and make this Let's Talk to Better Black Life, right? All right, y'all. So that's gonna be it for this topic. I don't know. I might jump in there a little later on, maybe a couple of hours. I might come up with something a little later. We'll see. We'll see. If I do, keep those notifications. Get those notifications out there, right? For the new subscribers that we asked a couple of new subscribers today. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate y'all. Okay, so keep your eyes open. Maybe tonight. Maybe I'll give you a little taste of something else. Maybe tonight. And then, if not, Thursday. We're going to come back Thursday, and we'll see what we're going to do for you guys on Thursday. Appreciate all of y'all, and thank y'all for tuning in. Appreciate y'all. Thanks. Peace. I don't know if it's letting me in the Bronx. Oh, it is. Don't let me in the